Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to the JAKIB Postgame Show. An unbelievable game in Week 9. Eagles get the win, 28-23, in a football game that had it all. Big Sills. It had everything in this game. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's Dan Sileo. We'll be joined by John McMullen from the stadium later on. Big Sills, I'm coming right to you on this. Tell me what you saw out there today, my friend.
What an absolutely shitty football game of playing down to your competition because of shitty coaching. That dude is completely incompetent. It should not be the head football coach of that football team. Dude, Barkley, Hurts, all of them played well. They win in spite of that coach. Plain and simple. By the way, the other guy on the other side has completely inferior freaking talent, and he almost stole that game from him. They were completely outplayed in every aspect of that game, and you had coaching what kept it close. That guy, Sirianni, losing challenges, 8 points. I mean, Jesus criminy, man. He is not qualified to be the head football coach. I'm going to tell you this. You struggled against the shittiest offense in pro football. You struggled against the shittiest secondary in pro football. The defense is terrible. There is nothing good about the Jaguars. Nothing. And you're going to tell me, anybody tell me, you come away with that with positives. Hey, the quarterback played well. He did. He was really good in that game. And by the way, he played dual threat. And you see these idiots putting the record up? It's the same shit that I went with last year, and you ended up all getting exposed that that team, when it got to critical situations, was a fraud. By the way they played in that game against a good football team that's balanced throwing it and running it, you'll get your ass pushed in.
So I can't think of a time when I've seen this bad of coaching that he nearly cost the football team the game today. We should have had 37 points on the board. I think he gave away 2 field goals and 3 point afters that he should have just taken the extra point on. It's 9-point game. It's a completely different football game. I mean, I've never come out and called for Sirianni to be fired, but you have a roster that is this talented. Is it fair to say Nick Sirianni should be fired?
How about this? You can't fire this guy because you have idiots in here that will throw the record up, and he wins in spite of the roster. By the way, that offense, every single offensive lineman is a second teamer. They were all 5 were second teamers, every single one of them. And if anybody's going to try to sit there and tell me that that was a great performance, that was a brutal performance against a brutal roster. They are just a tick up from New England's roster. That's one of the worst rosters in football, and you struggled at home versus the shitty Jaguars. I'll tell you this, man. Barkley is a war horse.
He
is without a doubt. I can't be more wrong about one guy, but that is your MVP. You ride that guy all the way as far as you possibly can. Your quarterback can do enough to move the sticks. We'll see what happens, by the way, without A.J. Brown in that game. Because quite frankly, against a good secondary, Hurts ain't doing that shit. That team was 31st in pass defense.
Yeah, but I will give Jalen credit. Sills, A.J. Brown went down, and Doug Pederson, in a very uncharacteristic move, punted from the 49-yard line down 6. I said, though, when he did that, he's daring Jalen right now without A.J. Brown to beat him. And to credit to A.J. or to Jalen and Devontae, 2 massive pass plays. They went right down and scored. That was good. That was good stuff from the quarterback and the wide receiver there, Devontae Smith.
Absolutely. Dude, I don't have a problem with the quarterback and the running back and some of the players. Smitty was sensational. The defensive guys played well. But let's do this. You really think the Eagles today played up to their talent or down to it?
I think the team played amazing. I think the coach, that was the worst coaching I've ever seen in my life. Now, I'm a younger fan. That was the worst coached game I've ever seen.
If you put the points on the board, it's a 12-point win.
And even more than that, the Jags probably don't have 23 points in the game if you made some of the decisions that he made. He kept them around, which led to them getting more points. Let's run down the numbers real quick. If we take Nick Sirianni out for a second, if I told you that the stats would be Jalen Hurts was 18-24 today for 230 and 2 touchdowns.
Excellent.
Saquon Barkley, 27 carries for 159 and a touchdown. Devontae Smith had 87 yards. Saquon Barkley had 40 in the passing game. A.J. Brown, 36. Jahan Dotson had a 36-yard catch. Grant Calcaterra had 30 yards. You just said, oh, they beat the Jags by 30.
I would have said they beat them. I would have said they beat them by 30 with the 237 they had on the ground rushing and the amount of attempts. They had 46 rushing attempts. And do you know what that means? It's not like they were running it, getting 3 yards a pop. They were running it, blowing them off the football. Dude, they were averaging. Do you understand how hard it is for almost 50 carries for you to average 5 yards a carry? That's impossible. How did that game stay close? It was the incompetent coaching that kept that game close. By the way, too, the tush push was smashed by the Jags. The Jags smashed the tush push.
Yeah, and then he got cute and went away from it.
I can't remember the last time. No, they legitimately 2 times in a row stuffed that thing on the goal line.
I know, but my point was that, and then the next fourth down, Nick Sirianni tried to roll Jalen out. He should have stuck with it there. It was 4th and inches.
He called that.
Who, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got scared because they stopped it twice. That's where I would have doubled down and said, you can't stop me 3 times.
That's right. Run that tush push. I would have did it. Hey, dude, so you go away from that play that's been successful the last 9 years? How stupid are you? By the way, the challenge. Hey, and I will say this, though. The Eagles got jobbed in that Barkley fumble because he was down.
Well, we'll talk about that.
In that play.
I'm trying to think. What did they see on that play? Because, look, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I thought it was an egregious call, but what is their justification for that? Are they saying that the defender that touched Barkley's knee isn't the reason he went down?
No,
well, he did touch him.
They're saying it's the only other way to do it because contact puts him on the ground. If you don't have contact,
but here's the thing: Saquon took 2 more steps and then tripped on his own guy.
They're saying he didn't touch him because he went down on his own. That creates a fumble. Now, if he goes down because of contact, that's because ground can't cause the fumble. So in their eyes, they didn't believe that swipe at the ankle was a good enough contact for it to be overturned that way. I thought that was a stupid call, in my opinion.
Let me get your take on it. And by the way, because I didn't have you on in the halftime, and I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here on the JAKIB Postgame Show. Got a big crowd in here. Don't forget to smash that like button, everybody. It really helps out the channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. And a reminder, as we talk about Saquon Barkley, anybody who becomes a member today, Joel became a member. We had another one join earlier today. Anytime Saquon goes over 125 yards from scrimmage, we give away a jersey. So we will be giving away a Saquon Barkley jersey on Tuesday's edition of Birds 365. So get your memberships in now. I pinned the message in the chat to become a member. We will be giving away a Kelly Green Saquon Barkley jersey, whatever size you want, shipped right to your door. One winner. So get your memberships in now. John Sills, I got to ask you about the backwards hurdle over a player. You've been playing this game for a long time. You've been covering this game for a long time. Have you ever seen anything like that? That was unbelievable.
He's as athletic as it gets for as big as he is and as powerful as he is. I mean, I made a comparison in skill set, not career or resume. Dude, he runs a lot like when Walter Payton ran. He looks for contact. He's tough. He's strong. He's athletic like Walter was. Again, not putting resumes there. I'm talking skill set. And I'll tell you one thing that he does a lot better. I'll tell you this, man. That guy can catch a football, and he knows how to get separation. I'm telling you one more time, and I'll say it again. If Saquon Barkley had played his entire career in Philadelphia, he'd be in Canton.
I couldn't agree with that more, Big Sills. If he played here forever, man, he is unbelievable. This is a new guy. This is a new player in Philly that has been unlocked by
He's
the
been
offensive line.
recharged.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely recharged.
Yeah, what a day he had, by the way, just to give him credit. I know we started the show. I mean, we get a win, and it's tough to even have a positive take on the game when you watch your head coach, who's really in charge of this shit.
Because this is a game that should never have been even remotely close.
Exactly. No, I'm not blaming us for being negative. It's hard to look at this and not wonder, how is this team going to succeed in the biggest moments when Nick Sirianni can't even coach us past the fucking Jaguars? It doesn't make sense.
How did the Jags have the last opportunity to win the game?
And they almost did it. I mean, I thought Nakobe Dean, shout out to
Personally,
Nakobe Dean.
I thought Nakobe pushed off, but guess what? They
Yeah,
didn't give it to him there. But that's okay. Hey, by the way, as many people are saying about his play, Zach Bond was all over the place. That guy, I don't know who he is or what he is, but that dude was a ball player today. What an absolutely great football game he played today.
No doubt about it. Both those linebackers have played so much above their expectation this year. It's been a massive.
How do you stay in the game with the Jags?
Nick Sirianni, that's how.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're all clear here on this, right?
I mean, that's what it seemed to me, man.
Okay. I mean, you know what you're going to get from the media people that cover him? Hey, I don't mind him going here, or I don't mind him going there. Well, when it adds up to 8 points and a blown
9, it's 9.
9 points and a blown call. And get this, that game, what was the point differential in the game? What did they win?
They won the game by 5 points. It was 28.
They won the game against the Jags. John and I were both like 31-17. We were all in there going,
I had 34-10.
Hey, how are the Jags going to score? The head coach. Dude, he is so that going for it. And you know what he does? His aggressiveness clouds his judgment. I mean, dude, why don't you put the more points you put on the Jags, you know what that's going to do? The more points you put on them, you put more pressure on them to have to be in 3rd and long and have to be a team that has to throw the ball. Dude, that football team, they had no right being in that game. You know what? When I look back at that game and I go like this, if I look at the score, I'm like, wow, what a really good game. Yeah. Then I look at the numbers and I'm like, are you kidding me? They had 60 yards rushing. They turned the ball over, and they were still in the ball game. How's it? Get this. The Jags had 14 first downs. They were 3 of 10 on 3rd down conversions. They had 215 yards in total offense to 447. You want to hear something even more crazy? The Eagles ran 73 plays to 50. They had an additional basically quarter and a half of plays, and it still was close. How is that possible? Their head coach.
It's unbelievable, Sills, because if you look at the box score in this game,
it's ridiculous.
It's exactly what we want this team to do, though. Jalen Hurts had 12 carries for 67 yards. Saquon Barkley had 27 carries for 159. Hurts threw the ball 24 times. He was 18 to 24 for 230 and 2 touchdowns. That's the exact formula for the Eagles offense to be successful, and they nearly botched it because of Nick Sirianni. If there's anybody that can explain to me why it's not on Nick Sirianni, I need to hear it, because I'm done hearing he's aggressive. You can't just be aggressive in a vacuum and let it cost you a game because it's your philosophy.
Do you know why this is important? Because when you play a team that has a winning record and is a good team, that's going to cost you. My point is, you've played one football team this year with a winning record. One football team with a winning record. You're not going to be able to do that when you're playing good foot. You're not doing that to Baltimore. Dude, you're not doing that to Baltimore. Just not happening.
What'd you make of the defense today, Sills? They gave up 31 yards in the first half. They kind of faltered in the second half. But man, how much do you put on them? How much do you put on the head coach who put them in an awful position to begin with? What'd you make of what the defense did today? Both linebackers, by the way, with an interception today. Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond getting an interception today. I thought they played great today. What'd you see from the defense out there?
Josh Sweat was a freak machine today. He played his ass off.
He's quietly putting together a really nice season.
You bet he is. And I'll say this to you, man. He's starting to look like 2022 Josh Sweat. Remember the conversation of them trying to maybe move him and potentially move him? They were talking about it. Well, I'll tell you what, the addition of brain cells being used here with keeping BG and having Josh Sweat still on the team has played a factor. By the way, did Bryce Huff play? Did he play at all? Did he get any snaps in this game?
He got barely any snaps. I can't wait to see the snap breakdown. There's something going on with him. He wasn't on the injury report all week. There was no sign of him not practicing, and he must have gotten 10% of snaps today. Are they thinking about trading him?
I will relent on one thing. Okay, and by the way, great. I see you fly. Did Jordan Davis suit up? I'm sorry, I didn't see his ass in there.
I mean, he didn't make a big difference, but he was out there.
How about this? I'll relent on this one to you, Zander. Slay was missed today.
Yes.
Slay was missed today because those passes were getting completed late in the second half.
I mean, that fourth and 13 late in the game, what was Isaiah Rodgers doing?
Reason that those passes were getting completed is because there wasn't a ton of pressure in the second half. Sweat was really the only guy applying pressure in that game. I mean, he came around on the twist. Dude, where's the rest of the edge rushers? Where was Nolan Smith in this game? I mean, at the end of the day here, man, they allowed a dude, 5 offensive linemen were replaced in that game. No, Zander, 4, because the center stayed in. Right. Both guards and 2 tackles were removed. One was prior to the game and the rest of them in game. I mean, boy, I'll tell you what, you tripped your way into that win.
It's unbelievable. Let's get a couple super chats here.
By the way, thank God that Jalen and Barkley played that well.
Yeah, they played amazing today. Jalen Hurts, I thought, was tremendous today. Devontae Smith, I mean, what a great come up for him late in the game there when AJ Brown went down. Sills, how about that catch and the touch? I mean, that's a legitimate contender for catch of the year. That was unbelievable. One-handed, drags the toes, almost gets the calf down too. That was unbelievable play by Devontae Smith there.
By the way, all super chats will be read. Don't worry, guys. We appreciate you guys. Please hit the like button for us.
Yeah, we'll get to as many as we can. It's tough to do one of them. We will get to every single one of them. And I want to thank Philly Billy for becoming a member and Joel. Anybody that becomes a member today will be eligible to win in our Saquon Barkley jersey giveaway. That will happen on Tuesday on Birds 365.
You're Jeffrey Lurie. How do you look at that? If you're the coach and you have Doug Pederson on meetings on Monday on how you win, don't you think that's the kind of conversation that you would call into your head coach on a Monday and ask, what were you thinking? If you do that to Doug, why wouldn't you do that to him?
I mean, if you're Howie Roseman too, you got to look and say, boy, thank God this roster is good, because
the coach isn't.
The coach isn't. The roster saved him today. I mean, he got bailed out today by having exceptional players. That's it. He did everything he could basically to lose that football game for the team today.
Do you think the media is going to be hard, tempered, or what today? If you watch that game of 60 minutes of football, okay? If you watch the game today, the only takeaway you were having was, dude, the fans were booing him even when he went for the 2 at the end of at the last score. They were going for. I mean, Hoss, I don't know how you defend that, and I can't wait to hear John, because I can't wait to hear John's excuses.
I mean, listen, I got to get. I cannot wait. I've never been so excited to talk to John McMullen. Is he going to come up here? I'm not going to put any words in John's mouth, but John has defended in the past Nick Sirianni's aggressiveness. What's he going to say to this today? You nearly squandered this game to the Jacksonville Jaguars from bad coaching.
Because can I tell you why that you dissect this here? These games are not just about one game. It's how you're playing and how you're being coached. Because these games matter in setting up the blocks for the postseason. So when you see or hear idiots talking about one game or your record, those are people who have no idea what they're talking about. Because a year ago, you did the same shit at 10-2, and you blew apart like you were the Titanic. That's exactly why you want to try to get away from it. By the way, I see why Lane and Malott and those guys wanted to go more towards this style. It definitely benefits 2 guys. Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, well,
Jalen, how many rushes?
Yeah.
How many rushes? Get this. Once again, I will tell you one of the reasons why Hurts was so effective in the passing game like he was in 22, because he had 13 rushing attempts. You're now seeing a guy, he had 13 rushing attempts for 67 yards. Dude, there's running backs in the NFL. The Jags didn't have 60 rushing yards as a team in that football game. And when you put that up there on the other end of a guy going over 150 yards and you have 200 yards rushing between those two, the passing game's going to be wide open, brother. It's going to be wide open.
No doubt about it. Sills, let me get your we're going to go to a couple super chats here in just a second. Appreciate everybody giving supers. Christopher, Sean, we're going to get to all of them. We appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for the support of the channel. Means a lot. Sills, what did you see from Cooper DeJean, man? He is really an impressive football player out there. He looks I get you. Last week you made a comment that got a lot of shit on the postgame show, and you said he might have shown me more than Quinyon.
Yeah.
I understood what you meant when you said it. Now, Quinyon's obviously done more because he's played in more games, but this Cooper DeJean is impressive as a football player.
I think he's more talented. I think he's
certainly more athletic.
I think he's more talented as a football player. I'll tell you what, has there been a game that he's played in that he hasn't had a moment where he shined? I mean, I didn't hear Quinyon Mitchell all day. You know what I did hear? I heard that guy and I saw that guy. By the way he runs to the football, and you know what you got going on now? You got the fan base now going, Coop! Dude, the entire stadium now has now found themselves a new personality in the secondary, and he's good and he's embracing it. I'll tell you what, dog, that kid can play. You know? I'm not suggesting in any way that Quinyon's not good, and I'm saying you got two good-looking football players here, and that's rare to find when you're drafting two good corners at one time. That doesn't happen, especially in that organization, and especially to Roseman, who's failed miserably at drafting that position. This looks like it's going to be here for a little bit here. Those two guys look very good right now, and I got to hand it to Vic. Vic's scheme is fitting a lot of these players, man. I mean, they still need more on the edge. That's what I'm thinking that they're going to do prior to the trading deadline on Tuesday. Would try to maybe to get themselves a little bit more pressure. The backers are playing well. Hell, I thought the safeties played well. You know, I thought the safeties played well in this football game. They kept everything underneath. They didn't really give up a big-time play back there. And you know what? They're rolling towards, a good season here. But again, like I said, I'm tempering all this thing. Once again, that is not a football team that you should be winning a game by 5 points. That's a game. That's a football team that's preparing for the April draft.
Unbelievable. So you brought up Bryce Huff, and you just brought up the trade deadline. There's no way they're keeping him off the field for a trade, are they? They can't trade him. They probably are going to have $30+ million in dead cap, right?
They're not doing anything like that. And get this,
I'm just wondering why the hell is the guy on the field?
Because Vic is
simply not good enough.
Vic is saying he's just not good enough to be in those pressure situations right now. He's a liability when he's on the field. He is an absolute liability. The two guys that you have on the field when you need it, Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat.
Yeah,
that's what you
Josh
got on the
been
football field. You know the one thing that Brandon still does well? He may not have got a ton of pressure in this football game here, but you know what he did well? He set the edge, making sure they didn't get out in the perimeter.
Yeah, Brandon Graham's amazing. Let's go to one super chat here. Big Fish, thank you, man. Appreciate the support of the channel as always. Big Fish checks in. You can't ice your Pro Bowl kicker all day, then expect him to hit a 57 off the bench. Sirianni is on the hook for 12 points, in my opinion. That's not a bad take right there. I mean, how many moments did they had to kick a damn field goal with Jake Elliott? They leave him iced out to dry, like he says in this chat, on the bench, and then they need him in a big moment at 57 yards, and he missed it.
And he blows a challenge.
He did.
So
didn't he blow 2 challenges today?
He may have. I remember the one. He blew the challenge, okay? And then that stupid play call with the screen pass on 4th and 1 when you're going to run the tush push again. Dude, there were so many bad play calls in that game. They were doing everything as a coaching staff to try to lose that football game. And it will cost you when it matters the most. Again, you know what you're trying to build up right now, Zander? You're trying to build up trends, and you're trying to build up things that you're hoping that your football team's going to start to find that identity. And I'll tell you one thing's for sure. The players are playing and picking it up. The coaching staff is not.
The players look great. Honestly,
I'll take that back. The head coach is not.
The head coach is not at all. Actually, I think the coordinators are doing a fine job. Vic Fangio's really got this defense playing well. I think Kellen Moore's starting to gel a little bit. This offense still looks great. I mean, look, I gave you the numbers. That's exactly what we would have wanted this offense to look like coming into the game. You had how many? You had 39 carries between Saquon and Jalen. 39 carries for over 200 yards and 24 passing attempts for Jalen. It was right in the sweet spot. Right in the sweet spot.
Remember what we said? The kid throws the ball 24 times a game, you're going to win a ton of games. He throws the ball 37 times, you're going to lose a ton of games. And right now, like you said, 24 carries, 39. And by the way, to what John says all the time about, Evan Flow, the only reason it's Evan Flow is because Barkley's annihilating people. He's jumping over people like he's a high hurdler in the Olympics in Paris.
I know.
He's doing things out there. By the way, he is by far the best football player on that field.
Well, all right, so don't get mad at me, everybody in the chat, but I got a real question. For as good as Saquon Barkley is, doesn't he sometimes kind of make brain fart decisions to you that you see? Like he hurdled that player at the end, and then he went down. He could have easily got that first down and probably effectively ended the game there.
I'm not going to bug out on
I don't want to bug on it. You're right. I don't want to beat him up. He's an unbelievable
what he didn't want
player.
to do? He didn't want to keep the clock going, and I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, he wanted the game to end. Maybe he lost sight of where he was and where the sticks were there, but his overall reasoning to me, Zander, was still thinking that he was going to put the ball in the hands of the clock and try to kill that clock there, and he thought the clock being killed because you know why? Remember, we were talking the one play where he dropped it in the Atlanta game, okay? And what happened? The clock stopped. He didn't want the clock to stop there, so I kind of get what he was thinking.
No, I get it too. You're right. There's just been a couple instances this year, like the one play went out of bounds.
Yeah, when he missed the block too in the blitz.
Yeah, I mean, and you're just like, oh, come on, get there. Those are the easy things. But no, you're right. Saquon has been great. Let's go to one more super chat here. We'll get to a couple, and then we'll get to our first commercial break. We'll have John McMullen joining the show later on. Looking forward to talking to John. Will John justify what Nick Sirianni did today? We will find out. I can't wait to talk to Johnny Mac.
He cuts it in half and says that half the calls. But then again, when you you can't cut it like that because it becomes a snowball effect.
Well, no, but I do think there is some context that can be added where the aggressiveness has helped the Eagles in so many ways. And like that one in the first half, early in the first half where they went for it on fourth down, I didn't have a huge issue with that because he was trying to put them on their heels early in the game. But when you get into, you're taking every 2-point conversion, you're passing up easy field goals when you can make it a 2-possession game. Those are the ones I like. The halftime show stills I did, and I came on and I'm like, why did they just end the half with a missed 2-point conversion? You kept it a 16-point game. When you take the point after, it's a 3-possession ball game. Like, to me, that's so simple to just make it a 3-possession game.
I don't want to put the game in the hands of the coach that makes it close. Sirianni made that game close with all those decisions. When you add them all up at the end, Zander, look, you're right. Here, if you want to do this one's okay, that one's okay, this one's okay, that one's okay. But at the end of the day, when you put it all together, it was a horribly coached football game because they were situationally lost points in that game. Again, here, wait a minute. I can't believe I'm sitting here debating, not really debating. I can't believe that I'm sitting here having a conversation about the shitty Jaguars and how close that freaking game was. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Dude, if you're a football player of that caliber and the Eagles are supposedly a Super Bowl team and you're hanging around with 5 points in a win versus the Jags, you're not going anywhere. I don't care what your fraudulent record says. You're going to hang around with the Browns for 5 points, and you're going to hang around with the Jags for 5 points, and you're going to try to tell me you're a Super Bowl team? You got Super Bowl talent, but you don't have a Super Bowl team. Why? Because you don't have a Super Bowl head coach. The Super Bowl head coach today kept that game close with nobody.
Sills, I'm going to ask you a question right now, and I want everybody in the chat to give me their answer as well. Should the Philadelphia Eagles fire Nick Sirianni right now?
No. Because what you don't want to do is implode your season like you did a year ago when you made those half-assed decisions.
Well, what if it's doomed anyway? What if it's going to implode anyway because the head coach can't manage a damn game?
This decision was made in the offseason to run the tape back with this guy. You can't sit there now all of a sudden for a second year in a row, pull the carpet out from the team. Is that what you really want to do? Second year in a row, you want to pull the carpet out from the team halfway through the season. When last year they were 10-2, now you're sitting at 6-2. Can't do it, dude. You've got to run through the tape. This decision was set in stone when it was decided that they were going to bring him back in March. When they brought him back, they're going to run this thing through the tape, Zander.
I get it. Everybody's like, "Oh, Zander's crazy. You're 6-2. Who wants to fire?"
No.
Okay.
Your
team collapses late in the year with this talent level, and we get out coached late in the year in a playoff game, like Todd Bowles did to us last year.
Correct.
Who's going to be laughing?
Correct.
I mean, this is one of the best rosters we've ever had in the city of brotherly love. He won today because our talent made up for the piss-poor coaching performance of Nick Sirianni.
Absolutely.
If we didn't have a stacked roster, we're not winning that game.
If you don't have Barkley and Hurts play the way they did today, you get beat by 10 points by the shittiest roster next to the New England Patriots in the league. It's mind-numbing. That get this. Hey guys, I'll say this to all of you. You got a good team.
A great team.
You just don't have a good head coach, and he's getting in the way.
And that's why I asked the question I asked. But I get it. I get the pushback on it. I'm certainly, if I owned the team, to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't fire Nick because it's hard. What are you going to do? Fire him at 6-2 in the middle of the season? But boy, I'd be sitting there, and the person I think who's scratching their head isn't Jeffrey Lurie. I think it's Howie. I think he's looking in. He's like, I assembled this roster. I think he did a great job, by the way, Howie Rosen, with this roster. All his defensive picks are panning out this year. Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, the two guys. Not Huff. I know, but I'm not. Look, you're never going to be perfect, Sills. You're never going to be perfect. Right now, there's a collection of players playing good enough, and I'm looking at this team. You almost know at one point it's going to bite this team in the ass, and they're not going to have everything go their way like they did today on the field and overcome the 9 points you give up to an NFL team.
My problem, again, with the roster is that when you're pass rushing against second and third team offensive tackles and you get no perimeter pressure outside of Josh Sweat all game long, that also is going to come back and bite you when Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff are a no-show. Again, this is not about 6-2. This is about, are you going to be trending into a position where you're going to be able to play the Baltimores? And hey, I'm going to tell you this, that Washington game, I thought you were going to be better than them. I don't know how much better you are than them because I can't wait to watch that football game. They've got great coaching. They've got Kingsbury and Quinn, and they're 7-2, and they're blowing this kid up here, and he's a rookie. He's a rookie quarterback with a marginal running back and guys who are doing it on the other side of the ball. That game is going to be interesting. The Baltimore game is going to be interesting. My point is, again, the Jaguars, guys, when people tell me, Sills, they played great against the Jaguars, I mean, how much am I going to sit here and really go, wow, that was, yeah, okay. I guess. The Jags, you were naming all the MASH unit players prior to the game, Zander. The defense and offensive side of the football. Hey, by the way, the two dudes that they have on the perimeter were hitting Hurts.
Yeah, they were.
He either had 3 or 4 sacks.
That Josh Allen
up.
dude, that dude can play, man.
Hey, dude, the Walker kid can play. He picked up that fumble and brought it back for a return.
Controversial fumble. I don't know about that call, but
still,
what the hell?
He got in the end zone.
Yeah, he did. No doubt about it. James Carver checks in. Appreciate you, James. Appreciate everybody in the chat today. A lot of great commentary. We appreciate you all being here. This is one, there's plenty to talk about, everybody. James says, we won by 5 instead of 14 points, if not more, because we chose to go for it when 3 of 4 offensive linemen were obviously injured, from Fred to Becton, who both came out or almost did, and Lane's still limping on his left leg. Horrible. I mean, it's James Carver says it perfectly. It's so everything is pointing to not be the aggressive idiot you are. You don't need to be.
You don't need it. You didn't need it at all. That was the point of this game here. You're not playing. Hey, dude, you do that shit against Washington, not the Jags. Put them asleep. You had a chance to put a bullet in the back of their head every single time you had points. Keep rolling the points up. What does that do? That's going to make Doug throw the ball more. Instead, they still were running play action to some effectiveness. They only had 60 yards rushing. But get this. How does a football team, Zander, help me on this. Please help me on this. How does a football team have 60 yards rushing, a quarterback who has 155 yards passing and 2 picks, and they have the ball with the last possession with a chance to win? How's that possible?
And they nearly got there.
Folks, listen to what I'm saying here. The team that had the chance to win at the end of the ball game is a 2-7 Jaguar team. Jalen Hurts is 18 of 24 for 232 touchdowns, 13 carries, 67 yards. Barkley, 27 carries, 159 and a touchdown. Versus Trevor Lawrence, 16 of 31, 2 picks, 155 and 60 yards rushing as a team. How do they have the ball in their hands to win it?
It's unbelievable.
It's remarkable.
They're big players. I mean, Travis Etienne, 24 yards. Tank Bigsby, 22 yards.
How are they in it?
By the way, Evan Ingram, he sucks. I mean, I can barely watch that.
How can a team like that? So you're telling me if the Jags don't have those turnovers, they win?
I don't know what. The only thing you can, I mean, you look at this box score, you would think the game was 45 to
Absolutely. It was like a Bengal blowout today, like that thing with the Raiders. Yeah.
Even worse, though, because the Bengals put up some yards. I mean, think about it. The top running back for the Jags had 24 yards. The top receiver for the Jags had 45 yards. You'd have been like, whoa, well, what a day for the Eagles defense.
They have the last possession to win it. There's no look at the third down. Look at the third down efficiency that they had in this football game. They were 3 of 10. How in the world are you not converting 3 third downs and you only have 14 first downs? And on top of that, Zander, you only run 51 freaking plays. How are you in it with the ball in your hands to win it?
It's unbelievable. Coaching. I mean, that's coaching. And that's where you come up with the question. Now, Sills, is it a big overreaction to be looking at this team and wondering if Nick Sirianni could cost us?
No, because I'll tell you what happened on why we're smarter this year. We're not going to be fooled this year like they were a year ago and what happened with the team in the meltdown. And the guys have already gone to the coaching staff and said that they wanted this style of offensive play. My question would come down, and my question would have to be from the owner. Where are we going with this? Let's stop being as aggressive. Let the players play. Get out of there. Right. You know what I want to say? Remember one of my takes that I had, Zander, on my bold prediction? I said this. Will Nick Sirianni get out of the way and stay out of the way? Remember I said that? One of my bold predictions. Would he stay out of the way? Do you think he's been out of the way for these 8 games?
No. Clearly not.
Hasn't there been a time where you've seen him where there's been moments where you're the fan thing? And by the way, when you start putting it all together, it just looks inexperienced.
It does. It doesn't look like it's like he doesn't look like a competent coach to me. And that's, I've been soft on him this year.
I guarantee you that the reason that John's not in here right away is because this is going to be a lengthy press conference and you're going to have people asking the question that they asked Doug Pederson. How are you in that game versus the Packers? How are you doing this and passing up on 9 points, blowing challenges? The 4th and 1. Why were you screening? Why didn't you just go back to the tush push? Did you really quit on the tush push? Right? How about this? The play, didn't you say last week, the Eagles, it must be really cool to start a series out 1st and 8? How did you know what? Maybe I got to hand it to Doug Pederson. Maybe he knows how to stop that thing because they started that shit when he was here.
I mean, Forrest checks in. He says, Xander, you've been trying to have his back. It's hard when he coaches like this. Forrest, you're right. I've been trying to be in Nick Sirianni's corner because it looks like the team is bought into the guy, but he does this. And here's a tweet from Brandon Lee Gowton. Big shout to BLJ. And this encapsulates my feeling on Nick Sirianni. He says, at his best, Nick Sirianni stays out of the way and doesn't drag the Eagles down. We saw that over the last couple of weeks. At his worst, the Eagles have to win in spite of their head coach instead of him giving them an edge. That's the reality. One of these days, we're going to play a team that's good enough to capitalize and is going to knock us out. And that's my fear. That's the ultimate fear I have with this team, that you have this talent, this offense. Jalen Hurts played great today. He played great, phenomenal today. One of his best games of the year. Nick Sirianni almost cost it for us. How do you justify keeping that guy around this roster? I don't understand it.
Didn't you remember what I told you last year? And we put up always sound bites from me saying that the guy is completely unqualified to be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. It's actually gotten worse. And for that 22 season, right now you have a football team in the Arizona Cardinals right now in first place in the NFC West with Jonathan Gannon. They crushed the Bears today. And tonight, you got an opportunity for the Colts, who are sitting in the 8-hole, to beat the Vikings tonight. And if they do, they'll be 5-4 on the season. There's no question that those two assistant coaches were a major part of what that football team was doing in 2022, because without those two guys on that football team, Nick Sirianni is completely exposed. He had nothing to do with those guys, because those guys are quality coaches right now, and they're pulling their teams with them to potential playoff spots. I got to say, man, again, how many times were you watching the television going, the only person playing poorly in this game is Nick?
I want to move off Nick for a second. I want to give Jalen Hurts some credit right now. Big Sills. So Jalen Hurts just completed his 5th straight game without a pick, his 4th straight game without a turnover. In his last 4 games, he's averaging 10.2 yards per attempt. And in the last 3 games, he's completing 76% of his passes. He's playing elite football right now inside this offense. He's doing exactly what he needs to do for this team to win with the way they're set up. Agree or disagree?
Kind of. He's not playing any elite football teams right now. You're playing the worst football teams in the NFL right now defensively the last 3 weeks outside of Cleveland. I mean, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing right now. Show me when he's in a game against an elite defense like Todd Bowles. He ends up getting his ass kicked in that game. By the way, let's see what happens without AJ here. That knee injury, I can't wait to hear from John, too, what the significance of that's going to be moving forward, because that's a key component in this thing here as well. I say this to you. He's doing all the things that they want to do right now, but to sit here and try to look at this and have a takeaway that you performed great against the 31st ranked defense in the league is asinine. I mean, I'm going to look at this and go, you did your job. They played well. They played up to their ability, and the coach coached down to their ability. That's what happened in the game. Hurts had to play that kind of football today for them to win. Was that an elite effort versus a shit team? You dissect that. I thought he did really well today. I thought he played well. I thought he played clean. I still think he holds on to the football too long in the pocket. That was evident in the pocket, but I do think he's seeing downfield a little bit better. Is that at the side of the 31st ranked defensive secondary in the league? I don't know. I want to see him against some really good opponents, because every time he gets into a game against a really good defensive coordinator, there's issues.
Fair enough. Let's get to our first commercial break. I want to thank everybody in the chat right now. We have a great crowd in here, and we appreciate every single one of you doing it. I thought Jalen was great today. I thought the defense was solid. I know they had a little bit of a letdown in the second half, but overall, really good. Saquon Barkley, how about it, everybody? Another jersey being given away this week, our 4th of the year. So our 4th Saquon jersey will be given away. Get your memberships in now. We'll be doing the Saquon Barkley jersey giveaway on Tuesday's edition of Birds 365. And then Devontae Smith, I'll give him some credit too before we get to the break. A great touchdown catch by Devontae Smith. That was as good as it gets right there from Smitty. So thanks everybody for being here. Hit that like button. Thanks to all of our super chatters. We will get to all of them. Thank you all for the support of the channel. We appreciate that. We'll be back in 3 minutes on the JAKIB Postgame Show coming up next.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Score and save in Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid
as long as you face the fear.
and keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to the JAKIB Postgame Show here after a big win for the Philadelphia Eagles. They get the win 28-23 despite a spotty performance from the head coach. Well, everybody performed well, Sills, except for the head coach today. And it's the talking point. And it's going to be the talking point all week long. But the reality is they get the win, and they moved to 6-2, and they live to see another day. And Nick is winning enough to keep his job. I mean, he's not going anywhere, and there's going to be a lot of this conversation for the rest of the year.
Get this. Dan Orlovsky just tweeted out. He goes, there's no coach in the league right now that takes more points off the board than Nick Sirianni. You're now becoming a punchline. I mean, think about that. You're becoming a punchline. And I give it to you, man. I think Wishbone Hurts played well. I do. I mean, the way he ran
today.
Dude, that guy's success is based on his running, not his throwing. Once he limits that running, he'll be back. Dude, he'll be back to being the same guy he was prior to the bye if he goes back to throwing the ball 37 times and running the ball 5 times.
Yeah, but you're saying that like I didn't watch him throw a dot to A.J. Brown on the sideline. Like I didn't throw him complete a perfect deep ball to Devontae Smith.
It's because they're running for 230 yards.
Well,
That's why they're single covered on the perimeter. They weren't before. It's because the running attack is opening up single coverage.
Yeah,
And
but
when you
why
have
is that a
single
knock on
coverage,
Jalen?
anybody in the NFL can make those completions.
To me, that sounds like good football. Why is that a knock on Jalen?
That's not. I'm not saying that, but his ability to run the ball is the only reason, like in 22, that he had those passing lanes open. That's what made him a dual threat weapon, was when he does.
Elite.
He doesn't see that. You're crazy.
Elite.
Crazy. Elite. And he's elite, all right, against the 31st ranked Jags defense. How elite, man. Unbelievably elite. Congratulations to you, kid. Way to run the ball.
I don't care who the defense was. That dude was dropping dimes on deep balls out there today.
You think you're doing that to Detroit? You think you're doing that to Baltimore? You think you're doing that shit and all that other stuff, playing the way that they play that style of play? Even the guys, the commentators were saying this. How do you think the Jags stayed in the game? They had nothing on the side of their ledger. How did they stay in the game? How did they stay in the game?
Like the coach.
So wait a minute. All these guys played elite ball today, and yet you won by 5 against a 2-7 Jags team.
Well, I mean, they gave up their first touchdown, and then 14 seconds later, a spotty Saquon Barkley fumble was returned for a touchdown. That made it a 1-score game. The offense got a little stagnant, and then they put up another touchdown to Devontae Smith. I don't think the offense was any of the problem today. I think the offense was zero problem.
You didn't win that game because of the offense. You won that game because the defense had a pick in the end zone.
Okay, you also won that game. I mean, the offense helped you
won
win
that
the
game because they were inside the 30, and they were going in, and the defense made the play at the end to stop it.
They were inside the 10.
Offense gave it back to them and banked it off the damn scoreboard, or they banked it off the uprights too. How you doing?
You're blaming that on the offense too?
Hang on, folks. You gave a 2-7 football team a chance to beat you at home.
Nick Sirianni did. Jalen Hurts did not.
No.
You can call him wishbone. The people in here who hate Jalen can say it's all Jalen all they want. I'm not buying that. I have two eyes. I watched the game today.
Hey, get this. This kid's crowing over the Jags and the Giant defense, and I'm
not crowing over shit. I'm the one who asked if we should fire the coach because he's going to cost us when it matters. But to sit here and say Jalen Hurts didn't have a good game is dumb.
You played one team with a winning record. You're trying to tell me I'm supposed to sit here and gush over this.
Stills, what do you want me to do? Go call the NFL and remake the schedule?
No.
You play who's in front of you.
No, I want you to be a little objective here, and what you're seeing here, that the team is getting better, and they are. But that coaching staff and that football, hey, dude, it all goes together, Zander. Coaching and playing all goes together. It's called
I agree
team.
with that.
Okay?
I agree with that. No doubt about that. We'll get John McMullen up shortly.
We got James Franklin. James Franklin, it's Halloween this week, right? So James Franklin, he had a nice mask on. You know where he was? He was on the Eagles sideline today. That was James Franklin dressed up.
I'll give you that,
He was dressed up as James Franklin today.
I'll give you that, comp. James Franklin's a joke. But no, I'll give you that, comp. We'll talk to – and let me ask you, speaking about that offense on a serious note, Sills, I will say, now this is 4 weeks, and I think they're continuously building on what they're doing. What have you seen? What did you see from the offense today on a serious note about their progression and what you think their ceiling can kind of be this year?
There's no doubt that they've returned back to being physical and imposing their will at the point of attack, even with makeshift offensive linemen in there. Yeah, hey, one thing's for sure. Fred's getting banged up. You know why he's getting banged up? His body's not in shape right now to take on 65 plays on a weekly basis, and you can see that. Zander, there's a reason when there's guys that are frontline guys that know how to play 65 plays a game and have that NFL maturity, he doesn't have that yet. That's why you're starting to see nicks and bruises and why he's coming in and out of the lineup. That's something they got to be a little concerned about as they get closer to the trading deadline too. Still, with all the guys and all the injuries and all the banged up people, you still ran the ball for 230. Dude, the most impressive part of that whole game to me was the 230 and the deep passes that Hurts had in the game. There's no question that is something that you really build on. Now, remember, you temper it, though. Who are you doing it against? Have you done it? And here's where I'll give you this credit, okay? You're starting to put weeks together. You're starting to put weeks together where you're looking the same to me. And if you start to look the same to me, you are that. And whether you lose or win, as long as you look like that, like Baltimore lost last week against the Cleveland Browns, right? Well, they still look like the Ravens. This week, they played exactly the same way they did a week ago, and they blew that football team out. That's what you're starting to see here a little bit with the Eagles. You're starting to see continuity, and there's no question. I'll tell you this. I had a guy that I killed in my on my show saying that the defense is ahead of pace. It is. I thought it was going to take 12 weeks. I mean, they started playing better about week 6, where I started thinking that it started looking different. And to me, I think now 6, 7, 8, you're starting to see 3 weeks in a row. My problem, again, is still with the pressure. The pressure on the perimeter is still a problem. I think the run defense, again, you held the team to 60 yards. Okay, I mean, Etienne's a good talent. I know he's banged up.
I don't want to let you off the offense.
He's a good talent there.
I don't want to let you off the offense, though. I have a question for you. Has what you've seen in the last 4 weeks, I know the opponents aren't great. I get it. But has the style and their approach to the offense, has it started to shift your perspective on what you think this team can be? Remember, early in the year, or in the offseason, and I get it. I had the same fear as you. It was that they were going to try and make Jalen Hurts something he's not, and they weren't going to be able to live up to expectations from doing it. Now I think you're seeing an evolution in the offense that's given me confidence. Maybe I'm an Eagle fan. How do you see it? Do you see like this? Has this offense unlocked a higher ceiling for you based on what you've seen in the last 4 weeks?
Do you think you can win a Super Bowl with that style of play where you don't really, against elite secondary people, where you're only throwing the ball 25 times in a game, in a playoff game?
I think we can win with that.
You think you can?
I certainly think we can win in the NFC.
Who's ever won a game throwing the ball 25 times in a Super Bowl or in a playoff game? Can you name me one?
I'm sure I can name you one.
Really? When? Not in the last 12, 13, 14 years, you can't. I mean, it doesn't happen like that. You got to throw yourself out of trouble, dude. Okay? Yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is not going to throw. Patrick Mahomes is a different animal. Tom Brady, you think Tom Brady's throwing the ball 20 times in a game and losing or winning a ball game? You're going to talk about a quarter. And plus you have those elite guys that are the elite quarterbacks to win that. We're going to have to wait and see if you can win with this style. I think this is what hampers Baltimore too, Zander. Okay, when they get into the postseason, I think it hampers them. They're going to have to, when they get to the postseason, they're going to have to make plays, big plays in the passing game, let alone just the run game. Hey, look, the run game is essential in winning Super Bowls. I don't think you can have a Super Bowl team and not be able to run the ball. I don't think you can.
Well,
but
look,
I do think you're going to have to make plays from the passing game.
There's no doubt about that. You're always going to have to make plays in the passing game. Now, my point is that you've started to see them. When you have the running game, Jalen makes more plays in the passing game. You saw him tonight. But let me just bring it back to Super Bowl 57. The Eagles lost that game 38-35. Jalen Hurts in that game. You know how many passing attempts he had? The losing quarterback?
How many?
38. You know how many the winning quarterback had, Patrick Mahomes?
21, 22.
27. They ran the ball 158 yards. They passed the ball for 182 yards. So to answer your question, do I think we can win with it? I certainly do. When it's efficient football, I do.
So you're going to compare Mahomes and Hurts in a Super Bowl?
I'm not comparing the quarterbacks. I'm comparing the style of winning.
That guy's going to make a play because he has in 3 of them. That's going to be the game winner. That's a different animal comparing that guy to that guy and how they approach that game, saying that he threw the ball more than him. That guy made a play that cost the game. That guy made a play that won the game. That's the difference.
Sills, come on, though. I know
Are you saying
like
that drop ball on the ground?
Jalen Hurts makes plays, Sills.
Dude, I said that style of play won't win Super Bowls.
Jalen Hurts makes plays, though. You just said that won't work because our quarterback
style of play, in my opinion, won't win Super Bowls.
That's fine. I would disagree with you on that. I think this team can definitely win a Super Bowl if they play like this, and they continue to double down on the approach and the physicality. Look, every time they play physical, Dan, Jalen makes plays in the passing game. Now you're right. The running game opens up single coverage. It opens up the defense. But Jalen Hurts has shown to capitalize on it.
Baltimore is more physical than Philly, and they won't win playoff games because they can't make plays in the passing game.
No, they're in the AFC. It's a different conference, no doubt.
Okay, I'm telling you, when you get into a football game, boy, I'll tell you what, I find like this is deja vu all over again when people are talking to me and talking shit to me when you were 10-1 last year, and people are talking to me about finding strides and shit. Well, at least a year ago, you played against great teams and great quarterbacks. This year, you haven't, and now we're all sitting here going, wow, the offense is starting to find itself. I think the offense is starting to find some balance, and they're starting to find out what they do well. But to sit here and go, well, hey, what's your takeaway? That you hung around with a shitty Jags team. That's my takeaway. And you hung around with a shitty Browns team. That's my takeaway. Okay? I mean, what does that mean to me? That means you can win a game, every game you play in, but that also means that you can lose a game that you play in any game that you lose. You almost lost those games there. The Browns and the Jags are teams talking about the April draft, and you combine 10 points, you beat them by. I mean, okay, you guys can tout all you want about teams looking elite. We'll see when you're in the room with an elite team. And by the way, when you were in the room against an elite quarterback, they beat you. This year, two guys that were playing good ball, Mayfield and Cousins looks insane right now. They beat you.
So why did we lose that? Why was the score in those two games so close?
Because the Eagles have better roster and they have shittier coaching.
Coaching. It's not Jalen Hurts. You switch the conversation.
No. A team is coaching and players, dude. They're all together. You're in the rowboat together. You're not, it's not, well, it's this guy's over here and this here. Hey, they're fighting here. Well, dude, if your coaching staff and your team can't find a stride together, you're telling one guy to row one direction and you're telling another guy to row in another direction, you're rowing in a circle. You're not all. Do you think that football team's on the same page? Between the coaching and the players, do you think they're on the same page?
At times they look at
that game today. Do you think the coaching and the players were on the same page? When you have a coach that parachutes, on the same page. When you have a coach that parachutes in and vetoes decision making when it comes to play calling, notably on the offensive side.
I think they're on the same page. I think Nick Sirianni just makes stupid decisions and it nearly costs his team the game.
And he nearly cost his coordinator an opportunity to win a game because he parachutes in. That's not on. I'll say, wait a minute. So the coaches, some of the coaches are on the same page, but the head coach is not. But the most important voice in the building is not. But hey, fuck it. That's not a deal. All right.
Sills, maybe one of the most important takeaways from today's game that we haven't talked about yet. And I think this is easily the biggest. What are you laughing at? What are you chuckling at over there?
I never thought you were Italian, but there has to be some in there because I love it. Go ahead.
My mom's 100% Italian. I come from Italian roots. My mom's parents, both 100% Italian.
Guys, please hit the like button.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Great stuff. Appreciate everybody and appreciate the great conversation we have here on the postgame show with Big Sills.
Dude, that press conference must be going double overtime.
Nick must have brought up the kids, the wife, the grandparents, the grandkid. He brought out everybody.
I heard he brought a suit of armor.
Yeah, he did. Sills, the biggest takeaway, I think, from the game that we missed, and we didn't miss it. We hit on it early, but we didn't talk about it because we don't know yet. It could be this A.J. Brown injury. A.J. Brown was ruled out in this game for a knee injury. And you hear knee, and then you hear that he's out for the game, and you're like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know about everybody else. My mind starts going to bad things. And if that dude can't suit up, we got a different football team.
Can I tell you, there's two things that happened in that game that I never thought I was going to think. When you and me, get this. Let me tell you this. We have a great audience tonight. Super audience. Do you know it was like flies in the pregame show? And we're sitting here going like this. What the hell are we going to talk about? And all of a sudden watching that, I never thought I was going to say this. Holy shit, they can win this, the Jags. Holy shit. How many times have you said that in a Philly game in the last year and a half? That's the only time I think I said that in maybe 2 years. Holy shit, the Jags are going to win it. You know why I said it? Because the other guy on the other side is the one guy you don't want to see coaching against your guy, and that was Doug. Doug was masterful with horseshit. He made chicken
I didn't think Doug was great
in
today.
the chicken soup.
Yeah,
Dude,
Doug,
kept him in it.
Doug and between Nick Sirianni's driving a Pagani. He's driving a Bugatti Veyron.
Dude.
Doug Peterson's driving a torn down, hand me down Honda Civic with 230,000 miles.
He's driving one of those redneck.
He's
driving one of those redneck F-150s down in Jacksonville with the gun rack in the back.
Yeah, that's been handed down.
The flag in the back, and he's here riding around in an F-Ford 150 going, hey, let's stay in this bad puppy. I ain't got shit, but hey, whatever. Ball tires and everything, and this guy keeps his team in it. I was like, holy shit, if this comes down to coaching, Doug wins. I mean, dog, come on, man. I could not believe I was saying that. Hey, you know what? To walk back one more time on to Jalen, he did play well.
Elite.
Hey, congratulations. You played elite against the Jags. Woo!
Jalen.
Hey, let me give you a Howie.
Hurts.
Hey,
Jalen elite.
We'll see how elite he looks without AJ next week.
Yeah, that's why I just said it. It might be the biggest takeaway.
Have they given an update on that, Zander?
What's that?
Have they given an update on that yet?
I don't think you're getting one anytime soon. We'll talk to John, obviously, when he checks in. I'll reach out to John now and see how it's looking. But no update on it yet. All I know is he didn't return, and they said knee. You hear knee, and you hear don't return. Now, some people were like, well, he walked off the field. You know what other PTSD that brings me? Carson Wentz walked off the field, too.
I said the same thing when Wentz walked off the Coliseum field. I said, oh, it can't be that bad.
I know.
Because he scored a touchdown, and then he walked off the field.
On the knee.
I thought he was going to come back the next week, and then he's out for the rest of the year. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe what happened here.
And then we won a Super Bowl. Shout out to Doug Peterson and Nick Foles. But we got the better of Doug Peterson today. But, man, that Jaguars team, Trevor Lawrence, man, he's tough to watch. Like, he's not a very good quarterback.
Doesn't he have spotty moments, though?
Oh, he is very spotty moments. Yeah. There's moments where you're like, wow, you can see the talent. And then there's other moments where you're like, what a boneheaded play that was.
No, Sills is not apologizing for Dean yet. No. We'll see when he's in games against superior teams that you're going to, or how about this? Compatible teams when you're taking on elite talent. I will say this, though. He's showing me signs of being a ball player.
Yeah,
the kid Zach Bond's outplaying him, though.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
You don't want to know what the free agent sign of the year is? If that guy continues to play like that, Zach Bond, if he goes to the Pro Bowl, that would be a feather in Howie Roseman's cap. And that, get this, you might actually do this. It makes the Bryce Huff gagging a little bit less reflux of a gag if Zach Bond pans out.
Daz, take it easy. Sills is he's got like 3 helpings of crow that he's trying to get through before he can get to.
Congratulations. Congratulations. You beat the Jaguars. You beat the New York Giants. You beat the Cleveland Browns. Holy shit, man. Congratulations. You beat the top 3 teams that will be picking in the NFL draft in April. Wow.
What am I supposed to say to that? You can only beat who's on your schedule, right?
Correct, but don't tell me you're playing like elite football when you're playing against shitty teams that are going to be the top 3 teams next to New England in the next April draft. New England's going to be 1, and then Cleveland will be 2, the Jags will be 4, and the Giants will be 3. Hey, we're playing great ball right now. Hey, really? I wonder why. You're playing one of them schedules where you're playing like Lehigh and Pace, and you're playing Rhode Island.
No doubt about it. Let's get to a couple more super chats. We got to get to a couple.
Eagles are playing URI.
Josh Harriman checks in. He said, you asked why he's on the hot seat with his win-loss record being what it is. Today was why. Terrible. Josh is right.
This? Do you know the only reason he keeps his job is the record because of the players? Hey, I'd be kissing the players' ass and blowing the players too, man, every day if I had to keep my job. Because those decisions that you make, You know that stupid college that he brings up all the time? Like, what's it called? Helen Keller University or something that he coached at? And I coached back in AAA football or what is it? 3A football. Yeah, man, we had a great conversation the other night. I'm like, yeah, dude, I wouldn't put you in charge of a 1AA football team. I wouldn't let you coach Villanova.
Big Sills checking in. Sean Mims checks in. Sean, appreciate it. We're going to try and get to all of our super chats today. Sean says, what's the word with AJ? I'm tired of not taking the points. We don't know yet on AJ, but I'm tired of it too, Sean.
Take the points, man. Get out of town. Take the points. Nick is like this. Oh, no, I'm running. Hey, imagine this. So here's Kellen Moore. Hey, let's run this play here. Let's run this play. Okay, so Kellen puts you, get this. Kellen puts you in a position to kick the field goal. And here comes Nick. We're going for it here. And we're going to run, instead of the Philly, he's running the dilly. That's what he's running. He's running this guy runs the dilly. That 4th and 1 should have been called the dilly.
What was that?
That was
that was just overthinking,
back to
right?
the tush push.
Yeah, that was overthinking right there, right?
No.
Christopher Darker checks in. Christopher, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Sirianni sucks. Bullshit fumble and return call. Bullshit pass interference call and an uncatchable ball. Barkley is an absolute stud and deserves the key to the city. Yeah, just get that first, Saquon. That's all I'd say about that. But great. Wait, so is that a Philly super chat or what, though?
That is totally.
Sirianni sucks. Bullshit fumble. Bullshit pass interference. Hey. Love you, Barkley.
Hey, and I look at the name and I'm like, is that Christopher Darden? Oh, no, okay, Darker here. Hey, man, I got to say something that really was, it was out there. That kid, Sidney Brown, went down there like a missile and hit that kid in the chest. I thought he cleaned his ass. Holy cow, man. I thought he separated him, man. I can't wait to see that kid get on the football field, dude. I really can't wait to see that guy get on the football field. Hey, he was a missile. When he hit that guy, I said this, I go, that guy's going to put that ball on the ground. Sure enough, he hit him in the chest, almost decapitated him. That was a great play by him, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll keep rolling through. Get a couple super chats in here. I'm going to the biggest ones first. Thanks, everybody, for checking in. Josh Harriman checks in. Apologies if this appears twice. This is why he's on the hot seat in games like this, despite his record. What do you think is going through his mind when he makes these calls? Stills, let me ask you this, because that's a good question. Do you think, like, the Doug Pederson thing being here had anything to do with it today? Where it's like, it's almost a natural ego thing where it's like the old guy who's got a statue out front, who won the Super Bowl from being aggressive, is back in town. Let me beat him at his own game. I don't know, maybe.
Okay. I'll buy a little of that. I'll buy it because the guy's emotional. If he wasn't emotional as a player or as a coach, I would say absolutely not. Like if you asked me that question about Tony Dungy, I would say absolutely not. But if you ask me that question about Mr. Emotions there, seriously, man, I don't know if this guy's PMSing every time he goes into football games. One week he's looking great. Another week he looks like he's PMSing. This guy needs a bottle of Midol every time he goes into a football game. So to say with the emotion, absolutely, man. Dude, you got quite an emotional coach.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, really, man, my wife's not that emotional, dude. My wife just tells me to go to hell every day. She at least is consistent.
I got enough women in my life to know that that's not true. No doubt. We got John McMullen coming up. He just got the text back. He's on his way up, so we'll go a little overtime today. We'll go in about 25 minutes with John. We'll get him up. Can't wait to talk to John. Sills. What is John going to,
John couldn't watch that game and not know what was going on with the coach.
I can't wait to talk to John. We're going to get John up in just a couple of seconds. I'll try and rip through a couple.
I may not say anything. I may just go, this is going to be open season Monday for the National Football.
The National Football Show tomorrow will be must watch.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take notes here. The McMullen file. Right here, the McMullen file. By the way, he has to be, with me, even more stunned how great Barkley is.
Yeah.
Dude, Barkley's over 1,000 yards already.
Barkley's unbelievable. He's
from
unbelievable.
Scrimmage. Is that right? He's over 1,000 yards already from scrimmage?
Yep. Eagles PR put that out there today. Ben Fly. Look at Ben Fly. Dean the Mean Machine is collecting more and more respect every week. Talk to me about it, fellas. Yeah, Ben Fly.
He's getting there. He's getting there. He's getting there.
He is, and I know you know it. And you're just trying to play the Big Sills role.
No,
You don't
no.
want to give him the credit yet.
No, it's 8 games, dog. It's 8 games.
It is though. But it's more positive than anything we've seen
God.
before. It's much.
How about this?
exceeding our
You told
expectations.
me 8 games ago he'd be here. I'd be like, you're high.
Yeah, I agree. And I probably would have told you. the same.
Way exceeded where I thought he'd be right now. I thought he'd be on IR and out for the year again. I did. Okay. That's
Sammy
what I thought he
Livingston
would.
checks in. Josh Allen passer rating today 92. Jalen Hurts passer rating 132.2.
Oh,
How long are we going to hate on Hurts?
and Josh Allen throws to who again? Josh Allen is 7-2 this year, and Josh Allen has not near the talent that you have surrounded that quarterback because, once again, without that, he can't win. We'll find out without AJ. Josh Allen doesn't need AJ Brown to win games. That's the difference. Hey, you want to know the difference between Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts? He doesn't need Devontae and AJ Brown to win ball games. He just needs Josh Allen.
Blake Green checks in. Yes, I'd fire him, but let's remember the refs gave them 10 points. Saquon was down, and Jalen got that initial 2-point conversion. Bad calls.
Those are excuses. Those are excuses. We saw them, and I agree. By the way, Bree Green, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that becomes excuses. Okay? The game played the way it did out. The refs are human too. They're going to F up also. Okay? You've got to overcome that. That's like crying about the field. You know, when John brings up the field about Brazil or Arizona, it's the most pathetic conversation going. You know why? The other team plays on it too. I mean, it's not like they roll out 2 different sets of field here. The other team plays on it too, dude. I mean, to sit there and tell me that really played a factor and you don't know what you're looking at. I'm like, well, the Packers played on it also. And the Chiefs played on that one in Arizona. Oh, I see. They had special shoes or something. I don't know. The league rigged it.
Look at this. Arthur checks in. No butt kiss Dean.
Oh my God. Holy shit. The butt kiss Dean. Holy. Hey,
Arthur, you got to be kidding me with that, Arthur.
At least he's not Jimmy Dean.
Yeah, it's better than Jimmy. Naz checks in. This game just convinced me that Nick is the problem.
But you're going to get this with media people because they want to get in and I'm not suggesting this with John. John's critical, and John does as good a job as anybody. And I love the way John covers the football team because he is with a great opinion, and he does right with a lot of facts. There's no doubt about it, okay? I'm not suggesting that. But you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be downsizing this, and you know what you're going to start seeing this week? Mark my words, folks. There's going to be these coaching videos that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to put out, and you're going to swear you're looking at Red Grange and George Halas and Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells, and you're going to go with one of the greatest win percentages in NFL history. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Sirianni, and you're going to be sold a bill of goods from Hair Bob Lang that this guy's really a great coach. Give me a break.
We'll see if they can win with him, man, late in the season. That's going to be the biggest question here is will Nick Sirianni cost them a game when it matters the most? That's my fear as an Eagle fan. I look at the roster. I don't have concerns about Jalen Hurts right now if he continues to play this way. I don't have concerns about the defense, who's been a top 7 defense in the league and might even improve that rating with their performance today. I know they had their
absolutely they're going to improve it. I mean,
I know they didn't have the greatest second half, but overall, I thought they had a really good game.
No, Zander. When you look at the numbers here, I mean, 155 passing and 60 rushing. You're gonna move up from the spot that you're at right now, and you might get near 6 and 7. With this effort here. I mean, look at what they did on third down too. The football team was 3 of 10. That's going to help their third down. They held them to 14 first downs. That's going to 51 plays. Look at this one here too. Time of possession, you owned them. Rushing yards, like I said, 60 on 18 attempts. Look at that number there, though. That's right there. There is the sweet spot, 46. Oof. There you go. You want to win games because your quarterback's limited? 46 right there, baby. 46 carries. That's how you're going to win with that guy. 46 carries. How you doing?
Johnny Mac should be in soon. Good stuff there, Sills. Bearded Willie checks in. I love you guys. Thank you, Billy. I love you too, man. He says, but that reverse hurdle by Barkley is out of this world. You are taught not to leave your feet in college because of the closing speed, but to reverse hurdle a guy in the NFL, crazy.
Hey, Bearded, no, hurdling and then turning your back to the field. Yeah, that's what we're taught.
And still, I know everybody loved the hurdle because it was unreal, but he did that coming off a spin move, coming off a juke. Like that was an unreal total 14-yard play. One of the greatest you'll ever see for a 14-yard pickup.
Absolutely. That was, hey, dude, when he leapfrogged over that guy, I'm like, holy cow. So this guy runs people over. He leaps in a single bound. Last guy I heard who did that was Superman.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's go to our main man, Johnny Mac from the stadium, joining us now on the JAKIB Postgame Show. Johnny Mac, welcome to the show, man. How you doing after the Birds get a 28-23 somehow nail-biting victory, John McMullen?
Yeah, I don't know. I was all ready to call that the Eagles' fifth inning back to the Yankees in the World Series. I mean, that thing was 22-0. And I think the Jags had like 40 total yards, somewhere around there, 1 first down. And all of a sudden, they get a touchdown. That's maybe a little bit human nature. You kind of let your guard down because you're dominating. You think the game's over. Then you have the turnover. They score again. Then you almost had another turnover. Cisco was really close to making that interception. He didn't corral it. And then it could have went really off the rails. But yeah, they make plays on offense. I was a little bit concerned A.J. Brown left the game. We know what happens to this offense when A.J. Brown leaves the game typically when he's not on the field. But Devontae Smith was able to make those 2 big plays, the 46-yard bomb and then the ridiculous 25-yard touchdown pass where he dragged the toes. That was on the 3rd and 22 play. And they gave up that touchdown, the Jags. And earlier they'd given up the Saquon rushing touchdown, I believe, on 3rd and 17. That's just egregious defense. But you got to give the Eagles credit for making those plays. Wasn't as consistent as they would like. And, of course, everybody was upset at the head coach for not taking the points. Take the points, head coach. So,
John, you don't think that was a well-coached football game by the coach, do you?
Well, they're pretty good on the tush push, right?
They got stopped twice in a row.
Yeah, but typically for 2.5 years, pretty consistently good on the tush push. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
So they have some confidence that when they're down there, they're gonna get in with the tush push. Why wouldn't they have confidence?
Then why would they go for it on 4th and 1 with a flare pass?
Well, that to me is the more questionable decision. Anytime it seems they tried that earlier with Saquon, they tried to go away from the tush push and it didn't work. So I think it's legitimate to criticize when they try to get too cute. But I can't, maybe I can criticize them moving forward now that they're not having consistent success. But yeah, I think anybody who criticizes them for using the tush push up to this point, what does that mean? You're doing it well, but you should know you're not going to do it well in this game. That's the kind of stuff that frustrates me. If I'm like, come on.
No doubt, John. I'm not throwing a flare pass out on the perimeter. I'm running it 3 straight times. And what I would ask you, John, is here's a football team, 14 first downs, 215 yards of total offense, 155 in passing. They were 3 of 10 on 3rd down. They ran the ball for 60 yards. How do they have the ball in the hand to win the ball game at the 36-yard line, and Lawrence throws a bad pass in the back of the end zone, and they have an opportunity?
Yeah, that was a bad pass too. That was a good idea, but a bad pass.
But how is that
pass.
team close in that game when you are dominated in that game the entire time? And get this, they didn't even have turnovers in that game. The Jags had the turnovers in the game.
Yeah,
how
they
are they
shouldn't have
making
been.
that a one-score game?
They shouldn't have been in that position, obviously. But, you know, one of the things, and I go back because we have so many Penn State fans here, like nobody wants to blame the players. Nobody. You know, execute the freaking play. And I know everybody's mad at you know, the official and Saquon got tripped up. You know, all right, if he did get touched by a finger and he tripped, why are you dropping the football? Why are you putting that in the hands of the officials? Why aren't you executing what you've done to perfection over 2 years? Jake Elliott, yeah, 57-yard field goal. We tend to yawn at those these days. That's a tough field goal, but he's made them before. Why isn't he executing right now? Why does everybody blame everything on the coaches?
I know, but John,
Execute
you
a damn
John,
play.
12 points taken off the board today.
That's what I'm saying. So you guys are like, they jump off sides like morons, right? And you guys aren't going to take advantage of that after watching this team.
Why don't you get the
3 years.
points to put that team to sleep, though? Get the points, put the team to sleep. You could have rolled the football.
So you're not confident.
That
you're
is
not
one of the worst
with
rosters
this
in pro football.
Yeah.
That Jags
I
team.
think, frankly, Dan, I think that's bullshit. I think anybody who says
I know you do, John.
not
What you're
confident,
saying is bullshit. When you look at that,
you're not confident.
when you look at that
but
Jags
where's
roster,
your evidence?
are you
You're
really
not
gonna-
confident.
How
on
in the
Dan
world-
Sileo.
how
They've done it to perfection for two and a
I've
half years.
Okay,
and
John.
You know,
Hey,
and
no,
you
John.
know they're not going to.
How in
be
the world
successful
does
about
that
it
Eagle
tonight.
team, who's a Super Bowl contending team,
Yeah,
in the game with a football team that has one of the worst rosters in pro football?
Guys, you got to let one another talk. You can't hear two people at once.
My mistake.
That's called looking at the game afterwards and second guessing. That's what that's called. If you're the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, pretend it's not Nick Sirianni, and you've had that success with that particular play for this extended period of time, and you're going to show up against one of the worst teams in football and say we can't accomplish that? How is that not bullshit?
You got stopped twice on the goal line.
All right.
Then you went for a stupid play on 4th and 1 on the 4th and 1. I mean, you're telling me that was good decision making?
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Quite frankly, I feel like you it. I should put my freaking headphones down and walk. You don't understand what I'm saying when I say you're looking and you're second guessing versus in the moment where you don't know the results.
Okay.
You don't know the results. Are you going to play the odds or are you not going to play the odds?
I'm going to play the odds like Bill Belichick would. That's what I'm doing. I'm playing the odds. Yes. I'm not. Players don't perform all the time. You play high percentage all the time. They talk to us all the time about analytics. That's not analytics when you're going for it on a swing pass on 4th and 1. Where'd you come up with that?
What is analytics? Enlighten us. What is analytics?
Applied analytics, John, is using the intel you get when it's critical moments in a game, not to run your game plan.
That to get it right. So 100% of the time, if you don't execute, you don't succeed. It's a poor decision. Is that what analytics
We're going to agree
is?
to disagree. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, disagree mightily.
Okay, great.
It's unbelievable. 2.5 years.
I know, John. Everyone's dumb but you.
2.5 years. No, some people are dumb.
I know.
Some people are smart.
John. I'm the shock jock stupid ass here doing this. I got it.
Well, John, do you have no issue with any of the aggressive
He has
moves that
no
Nick made
issue
today?
with Nick Sirianni. Nothing.
And again, it's a bold step. No, I have an issue with people who don't understand the basic, simple things that because you make a good decision. How many times have I said this to you? Doesn't guarantee a good result. Same thing. If you make a bad decision, sometimes you're bailed out by a Saquon Barkley making a great play. Sometimes you're bailed out by Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith making a bad play. If you can't recognize both sides of that equation, yeah, I'm gonna mock you. I'm sorry.
I'm not mocking.
That's
I don't
simple
feel any.
stuff.
You're not mocking me, man, because I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I do.
well, I am because you don't understand why you're wrong.
I know, John. I know. Everyone's stupid but you. I got it.
Yeah,
I got
all right.
it.
Because you can't argue intelligently. So that's where you go.
So here, all right. So now I'm stupid, and now I'm not arguing intelligently.
First
Fantastic,
of all,
John.
I didn't call you stupid. You said I'm smart. Everybody else is stupid. You're the one insulting me.
I was
All right, nobody needs to insult each other.
I'm
John,
not insulting you, John.
John, is there any issue you have today with Nick Sirianni's aggressive approach on multiple occasions? Not one. The overall trend, he gave up 9 points, if that's how you want to look at it today. You have no issue with any of those calls.
No, I have no problem with somebody explain. Like I just said, I literally just said, when they did get too cute off the tush push, there's a history of it not working. There's a history. What I'm saying is, when they run the tush push, there's a history of tremendous success. And to be perfectly honest, on one, they should have overturned it because he got in, but they didn't. So sometimes you live with it. Sometimes that happens. Same thing with Saquon. Should that have been a fumble? Maybe not. Sometimes you have a human being making a mistake, but that's why you don't fumble the football. That's why you teach it at the end of that play. Hold on. You can't guarantee that another human being is going to make the right decision. So you put yourself in a bad position. I already said, but you guys don't want to listen to that. I already said I would not have gone away from the tush push with that cute stuff, but that doesn't count because I say with the tush push, they've had tremendous success. If Jacksonville's going to jump off sides and give me a free yard, yeah, I'm going to go for the 2 points every time. I'm going to go for they're giving me a free yard with this team, not every team, because everybody else runs the tush push and they're not successful. Now, after this game, now I'll start to rethink it because now they're not the same as what they were with Jason Kelce, where it was 99% they were going to get it.
Hey, John, if I did insult you, I apologize. I didn't mean to. Okay. I don't want to go down that line because I love spirited debate. And so we're just going back and forth. And I promise you, man, I have a great respect for you. And if I did go over the line there, I apologize to you.
It's fine. I get it all the time.
Well, no, but John, let me ask you this because I understand what you're saying.
Well, Zander, wait a minute. I'm not apologizing for my take.
Let me just follow up on what he just said there. I want to follow it up because is there no game situation that should be applied to each of these decisions? For example, the end of the first half. I get it. They give you the yard. They're very successful. I understand what you're saying. Go for it. Makes sense. But don't you also have to factor in, gee, if I just take the 1 point here, which is a much higher percentage play, even with how successful we are, I make it a 3-possession game right there. Shouldn't that be factored into the decision?
He made that a 2-possession game. He made it a 2-possession game.
I don't have any problem with anybody criticizing Nick Sirianni if they want to criticize Nick Sirianni. I don't know where that comes from. You asked me a question, what would I do? I said, with this particular team, I understand why he did what he did. With somebody else, I watched at the end last year where Cincinnati with the backup quarterback won a football game because, the opposition was using a 190-pound receiver to do the tush push behind the quarterback who can't move. And it didn't work on 3rd and 1, and it didn't work on 4th and 1. And I would criticize the hell out of that team. With this team, if you put me in that situation, everybody says it's 1st and 9 for this team. How many times have you heard that from fans when they're putting their chest out and saying, "Oh, this is great. It's 1st and 9 for us. It's 1st and 10 for everybody else. If it's 4th and 1, we're going to get it." Now all of a sudden it doesn't work, and you're saying, "Oh, that's the dumbest decision in the world." That I don't agree with. When they go away from it, and then you can talk about the 4th and 3, and that's more of, look, their aggressiveness has been a huge advantage over most of the rest of the league. Same thing happened to Detroit last year. It was a huge advantage. It got them to the place they went to, and it also lost them the NFC Championship game. Now, in the emotion of the moment, I get why people are going to Dan Campbell's house with pitches, torches, and pitchforks. If they step back to look at it logically and said, "Boy, we wouldn't even have been in this game unless Dan Campbell coached the way Dan Campbell coached." I'm trying to take it off Nick Sirianni because people are emotional about Nick Sirianni in this town. It's been very successful to them. Does that mean it's going to work every time? Hell no. But to the analytics point we were talking about, that's what they do. That's what the data science is about. If you do that over a large sample size, you're going to have a bigger advantage over a team that doesn't do that. And by the way, that started with Doug Pederson, who was on the other side and made a big mistake of punting the football on 4th and 3 from wherever, the 49-yard line. And the Eagles got the football back and went down the field and scored. If he had more confidence in his offense, he would have went for that. Absolutely. But he didn't have confidence in his offense.
Look what he did with that football team. 4 guys in the O-line were replaced. 1 guy was traded. He had backup guys out there in the O-line. The running backs were decent. He was throwing to no tight end in that game. And the defensive guys, they were 31st in pass defense, and he made that a winning score opportunity for him. I thought Doug coached his ass off in that game. I mean, I said it, 155 in passing, 60 yards rushing, only 14 first downs, and you have a last possession opportunity to win a football game on the road. It's some pretty amazing coaching when you're looking at the talent level that they were in that game with the Eagles.
Yeah, they definitely should not be in this game. It should have been extended garbage time.
Yeah,
when it was 22-0.
Yeah, so why was it so close though, John? Like and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm a dumbass, and I don't know. To me, I saw it. I'm like, I think this is coaching. I think the Nick Sirianni kind of let them hang around with a couple bad decisions, and then we have a football game. Maybe not. I don't know. That's how I saw
it. If the defense continues to play the way they were playing, like what is that? So when they get to the first touchdown, forget about Nick Sirianni because nobody likes Nick Sirianni. Fire the guy. What do I care? I'll follow the next coach. That's Vic Fangio, obviously. So what happens? I don't know. I'll talk to Vic about that on Tuesday. So they let him go right down the field, which was astonishing to me, considering where they were previously and dominating as far as giving up 40 yards at that point. They'd given up 1 first down at that point. And all of a sudden, they can't stop the Jacksonville Jaguars, who don't have any weapons. So I don't know what that first touchdown has to do with the head coach. But if people want to blame it on the head coach because he's the head coach, that's fine. Then they get the football right back on the fumble play. Again, what does that have to do with coaching? I don't know.
I don't think
maybe it's a bad call.
A good hit by Sidney Brown has nothing to do with coaching. It was player effort. He hit it, knocked the ball loose.
Exactly. But I'm talking about the negatives. I'm not talking about the positive. I'm talking about the negatives. I'm talking about Saquon's fumble. So I'm talking about them getting back in the game. So it's 22-8. And by the way, both of those 2-point conversions, Jacksonville, I have no idea what the Eagles coverage was doing. It was abysmal on both of those 2-point conversions. But so you get the 1 touchdown. Even then, it's like, all right, big deal. They're not going to be able to consistently move the ball. Well, you give them the football right back. and then all of a sudden you have the momentum. That's the Saquon fumble. They score again. So I don't know what that has to do with coaching. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe good, bad, or indifferent. I don't know what that has to do with coaching. Just players getting a little bit. Again, maybe the first touchdown's human nature. Maybe Saquon didn't fumble. Maybe they touched him and they shouldn't have called the fumble, but they did call the fumble. And then after they called the fumble, by the way, there's no law that you have to give up a touchdown, but they gave up another touchdown. They gave up another 2-point conversion. And then, by the way, Jalen Hurts almost throws an interception to Andre Sisco. That's at that point where I said, that's the Yankees' 5th inning in the World Series at that point. But they overturned the intercept, rightfully so. It wasn't an interception. He should have been able to get it, but he wasn't able to corral it. So you got a bit of a break there. So bottom line, it is, you know, and you bring up the point, Dan, that you're right. Sidney Brown making a play has got nothing to do with coaching, but I think everybody recognizes that. Now, the bad players are like, oh, well, that's coaching. I don't get that. So
no decision making on not going for certain things, and that comes down from the sideline. John, going for 2 or not going for 2, not going for 1, not going. That's not player execution. That comes down to decision making on the sideline that the coach comes in and makes. We're either going for 2 or we're going to go for the tush push. That's a coaching decision. That's not player execution. The player execution comes on whether the success of the play happens, but it has to start with the coach on the sidelines making that decision to go for it first. Jalen didn't call those plays not to go for the extra points or go for the 1 point. That wasn't his call. That was the sidelines call. So that's where, again, I look at it, and you're right. Player execution.
Yeah,
but it still starts on the sideline, John. Decision-making starts on the sideline, not in game.
So if it's 22-0 and you're the defensive coordinator, because you're a defensive guy of the Philadelphia Eagles, and you've given up 40 some odd yards and you've given up 1 first down, do you assume your guys are going to go out there and shit the bed after 39 minutes of spectacular defensive football?
I'm not assuming anything at any part of a football
You don't
game.
have confidence. You don't have confidence in your guys.
My edge rushers did not show up in this game. No, only one edge rusher did, and that was Josh Sweat.
How many? You played at a high level. How many times have you played on defenses that played 39 minutes? Forget about professional. It could be college football, anything at a high level, and have given up 40 yards. And you don't have confidence in that team?
And only
you don't have
points.
confidence? You don't have confidence in that team on that particular day?
Totally, man. And only 51 plays. How are you in it with a last possession game where you're going to lose? You have a shot to lose against a 2-7 team.
You know what happens. I'm talking about in the moment.
How are you in that position that the game was a 60-minute ball game with a team that you and I were both thinking 31-17?
What you played the game, so you're working your ass off to stop maybe, Florida or Florida State or whatever, and forget about Vanderbilt or somebody who's not good at it. You're working your ass off. And you've given up 40 yards in this particular after 39 minutes of football, and you're telling me you're not feeling it as a defensive tackle on the Miami Hurricanes?
I'm going to tell you again, and John, I'll give you this. We play against Penn State. We lose the game 14-10. We had 500 yards of total offense. We surrendered 140 yards and only 6 first downs, and we lost. And you know what my coach told me after the game? My coach told me he became a better coach because in that situation, he learned about situational play calling, and he will tell you to this day, it's the most devastating loss in his career, and it taught him how to be a great head coach with decision and in-game decisions that he would make with his coaching staff. So you're right, John. You can have all the stats on your side, but you can keep another team in your game by poor decision-making that you make on the sideline. That's where I get that from. A guy who was a Hall of Famer at the college and pro level. That's how I talked when I talked to Jimmy Johnson, and he tells me that the sidelines make decisions like that. Players have to execute. John, you're not wrong. Being guy dropping the ball, putting the ball on the ground. That all comes down to player execution. It's all one ball, coaching and playing. That's where I get that stuff from, is that all decisions that we ever had.
Yeah, but listen to what
Jimmy.
you just said. Listen to what you just said, Dan. He learned from that. He didn't do it in the moment. He made a mistake in the moment.
No, he went on to win Super Bowls.
He learned from that.
Right.
In the moment. He didn't know it was going to happen. He learned from it after the game when he was looking about it. Now, if this team continues to fail at the tush push, which, by the way, I don't think they will, but if they continue to fail on a consistent basis, then, yeah, if he keeps going to it, by all means, rip him to shreds. I'm saying in the moment, which you just explained, you can because Jimmy didn't – he didn't change it in the moment. He learned it after the game, looking at the box score, looking at the film. Oh, shit, I should have done this. When you have confidence in your team, you don't go and say, hey, we're up 22 stinking nothing against a bad football team. You're not worried about, oh, I better play cautiously. You're the exact opposite. You're feeling yourself. That's human nature. And you should know that better than anybody, being on that Miami team, which was cockier than anybody. But were they tiptoeing around bullshit? I'm worried about the worst team in the fucking conference.
All right.
No, well, you're right, but I do think there's got to be some level of factoring in. You don't expect 100% success from your
All
player.
right, John, don't talk too much sense to me. You hear me?
Well, because I know you're a part of that. I know how cocky that group was.
That's right, man. I'll tell you what.
And believe me, they were cockier than the Eagles are. But yeah, they felt they had this team dead, and they didn't give a shit because they didn't think there's any way they're coming back.
Do you think that Doug, having worked with the tush push, do you think he has some insight on how to stop that play? Because he was really the first guy to institute that with Wentz. Do you think
maybe.
Two in a row? I haven't seen the team get stopped 2 in a row like that.
Well, that's kind of my point. Either have I. I haven't seen them get stopped 2 in a row. So why am I assuming that's coming? That's my whole point. Maybe Doug, you're right. Maybe Doug has a better feel for it. Although I will say, I think they blew the one call. I think it was in. So that's part of it too.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty clear. You guys got a better view than me, but I saw the replay.
I thought he was in. I thought he was in.
It didn't look like he was in to me. I'm not gonna lie.
And I thought Barkley was touched too. I thought he was down by contact.
That's the one I thought was
so.
spotty.
I mean, if you know, I think if that happens, if they make the right calls, and that's part of football. I'm not complaining about that because I hate people that complain about officials. There's nothing you can do about it. They made bad calls though, and sometimes that works against you. I don't know if the Barkley one. I don't know. Bunch of people told me he was touched, and I don't even know. We're going to get a full report soon from the official about that particular play, but I haven't gotten it yet. It is. Let me see what he said. So here's what he said. This is Vice President of Instant Replay, Mark Butterworth. So that's the one who answered. On that play, the running back was touched by a defensive player, number 51. And then he did have contact with number 69 on the offense. So that's Landon Dickerson. It was deemed a stumble on the field. So because it was a stumble, when he went down, he could not be down by contact, and therefore it was a fumble. So then the follow-up was, what would have qualified as down by contact when number 51 touched him there? If no other player hit him and they ruled it not a stumble, and he went down after contact by number 51 of the defense with no other contact, and he went immediately down, then he would be down by contact. So it's a bunch of typical NFL over legislation, but they ruled it a stumble, and because it was a stumble, it became a fumble when you're down on the ground. So I think a lot of fans, like, it's happened many times in the NFL. Guys are in the open field for whatever reason, they slip, and the football comes out. When it hits the ground, they think, oh, he's down by contact. You're not down by contact. You're only down by contact if they rule somebody caused you to go down, and they're trying to claim that it's a stumble. I think it's a bad call. But again, like there are a couple things. Like Saquon was phenomenal. Sanders got to give away another jersey. Phenomenal. The leapfrog. I haven't seen that since Jimmy Snuka in WWE.
Good.
A backward leapfrog. Now, he says he did it against Iowa in college. So evidently he's done it before. But, phenomenal play. The touchdown run, the touchdown reception. But there was also late in the game, it was 3rd and 14, and he slid down. He thought he had the first down.
Yeah, I
It's
said
like, what
that.
are you doing? What are you
He
doing?
made a couple of those boneheaded decisions.
John, I thought that remember when he dropped the pass?
He dropped the pass.
Remember when he dropped the pass? I think he was thinking, okay, the clock was the issue, and it was more important to him, and he lost his place on the field, and he lost where he was on the field there. He thought he was closer to the first down. He looked at it as he wanted to keep the clock going because he knew Jacksonville didn't have any timeouts left. So I get it kind of in a way, but I think he lost sight of where he was on the sidelines. Because if you remember right, when he caught that one pass and he was trying to tiptoe out of bounds, he really didn't have a presence of where he was on the sidelines too there. So I don't know, man. I mean, there
were a couple all I'm trying to say, there were a couple plays that he shouldn't have made, but he was spectacular. So
he was spectacular.
We got to run, but John, I got one last question for you, and it might be a long answer because I'm going to ask a lot in one. But outside of Nick Sirianni, who will dominate the conversation all week long, whether we like it or not, he will. Your thoughts on Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and I'll put the linebackers in there because I thought they played exceptionally well today. But just your thoughts on what you saw from some of the players today on the field, John, before we let you go.
Well, I thought Zach was tremendous. Zach Bond, I think from early on, he's been great for most of this year.
They better get him signed, man. That dude,
he's been stunning great.
He's so athletic. I don't think people understood. I don't even think the Eagles understood. I want to give credit to Josh Sweat as well. By the way, Bryce Huff, a lot of people on Bryce, he hurt his hand. So that was probably
okay.
At least that's what the Eagles are saying. So that is why he didn't play as much. But the defense as a whole was lights out for about 40 minutes, as I said. Now, Nakobe admitted he didn't think he played well up into the interception. Now, everybody, great interception. Overthrow by Trevor Lawrence. I thought it was a good idea, to be honest, by Jacksonville. I thought that was a good shot. It was just a terrible throw. Because let's be honest, that's Nakobe's weakness in coverage. And he made a great play. Offensively, Devontae Smith is just him in that toe tap. You see it. I've seen it so much, and you see it live, and you say, oh, there's no way he's going to be in. But I've seen it so much, I automatically say he's in. And he just makes his legs go dead. He's the best in football at it. And that touchdown was unbelievable. Jalen Hurts, I don't know if you guys saw, but we had a little bit of back and forth, and he was saying, I told him he had a knack for the deep ball because to me, his deep ball is tremendous. If you look at that 46-yard, and then he said, that's the first time I've heard that, he said to me. And I said, what? And they said, they said I couldn't do that. And I said, who's they? I just said you could. And he thanked me for it. But then he went in, like he uses that. Like I've heard so many people say about Jalen Hurts, how good his deep ball is. Everybody thinks he can't throw the deep ball. So he's built that up in his mind. I think
maybe there's a competitive advantage to doing that, John, right? I mean, you build it up in your mind.
Maybe I ruined it, but I think he's unbelievable. I'm not saying he's the best at it, but I can't think of anybody who throws a nicer deep ball. Now there's other stuff he's got to improve on. But yeah, there's a lot of good to take from this game, but they had a chance to lose it. And they had a chance to lose it because they left points on the field. So I get why everybody's upset. But I think that's where I disagree. That's where I turn and say, look, if I'm 4th and 1 with this team, I'm tush pushing all day.
Well,
John,
the part of it that I disagreed with was they went away from it. They got stopped twice, and then they went to some bullshit play. Just run the push again.
That I agree with. I don't agree ever. They did it earlier this year with Saquon. It was a disaster.
We better get.
I don't know.
Hey, I need a beer here.
We got to get out of here. John, great stuff, man. Get home safe.
Hey, John, this is one of the greatest debates I've ever had here on JAKIB Sports, and I got to tell you, and I want to thank you, man. Somebody that fights back is wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
I never get upset at people.
Me too. No way.
As soon as I get off the air, I have too much other stuff.
You think I'm Jody?
Yeah.
Jody was good at that too. Jody let it go. John, thank you, man. Great stuff. Get home safely. We'll talk to you in the morning on Birds 365, right, man?
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You bet, man.
There's Johnny Mac joining us. Big Cells, I know you want to get the hell out of here. Let me get your final take, man, on that segment.
I have a final take. 2 to 6 Eastern National Football Show.
That's how bad you want a beer. You won't even give me an answer.
No, because I am going to tease the living F out of this, because let me tell you this. That was a little tempered of a reaction to that guy's coaching. I completely 1,000% disagree. And I'm not going to get into a back and forth with our friend, because he is. And he has strong opinions too, and I want him to.
There was a couple low blows exchanged by each of you. I will say that. And I don't appreciate either of them, because
I love
both of you. I love
you know what, dude? In a
I
fight,
tend to side with you on this.
Sometimes you got to pick a chair up, all right?
So I was waiting for you to turn that into the wrestler, to the bone crusher.
Someday you got to pick a chair up, all right? How you doing? Okay. Monday, 2 to 6. Be there. And be prepared. By the way, there's probably around 25 people in here that aren't going to be able to handle it. So you might want to take Monday off and sit this one out, because I can't wait. You wait till that guy gets in front of the media in Philadelphia this week. I guarantee you it ain't going to be about a great victory over that wonderful 2-7 Jaguars team. Let me go get a beer. I got to get out of here because I'm about ready to throw up.
Good. We made up for some of the times that you're late every day on 2 to 6. Actually, 2:05.
Wow. Scoreboard. Holy cow.
I love you, brother. Great show, man. I'll catch you tomorrow. All right, man.
You bet, brother. Thank you guys so much. Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Sills. See you, man. Great stuff. Holy shit, everybody. Holy shit. Stills and Johnny Mac throwing haymakers out here, everybody. I mean, listen. That right there, I believe, is great content. Now, I'll tell you guys, full disclosure, I agree with Sileo. I don't see how John can view that in the lens that there's nothing situational about those decisions. It's all about trust, and you're doing it because it's your identity and you've been successful. Like, is there no situational there where you look at it and say, oh, give me the 3-possession lead, take the field goal here, or take the point after here? Like, is there none of that? I don't know. I guess there isn't. I'm going to fly with Big Sills there. But look, both make great points. I understand where both are coming from. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. I don't think they have any bad blood, but that definitely got a little heated for sure, which was, it's good to see. But overall, I think it is a good talking point, because we have this great ass team. We got this great roster. Jalen Hurts is playing the best football I've seen him play in a while. Saquon Barkley is an absolute game changer. The defense is playing way better than anybody expected of them. And do we have a question mark at the head coach? I think we do. I'll take a commercial break. Here's what I'm going to do for everybody that's still with me. We got still over 900. Look at that, man. You guys are legendary. JAKIB Nation, hit that like button, everybody. Can we get what are we at? 500, 600 likes? I don't know what we're at right now. But I would like we're at 493. Can we get the 600 or 650 for the greatness of Johnny Mac and Dan Sileo? I thought both of them were tremendous today. A lot of respect to both of those two guys. I'm going to take a break. take a commercial break. I'm doing the post-game show. It's already 2 hours in, so I don't have too much time left. I have a lot of post-production to do when the show ends. I'm going to take a double break right now. It'll be 5.5 minutes total, and I'll be back on the other side, and we will do super chats, and we will get to the people on the post-game show. Should be a lot of great commentary to talk about. Now, I don't need, if you're joining, let's get to it. All right. I don't need 6-7 minutes of ramble. We got to get through it. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people who want to join today. So we'll run through them. Appreciate everybody being here. Jack Straw says, grab a beer. I'm not a beer drinker, Jack, but I know Big Sills was like, Z, if you don't get me out of here, I'm cracking one on the air. So I knew he needed to get the hell out of here. But thanks everybody for being here. Hit that like button. I'm going to be back in about 5 minutes here on the post-game show, and we'll have some of you guys join us soon. Thanks, everybody. Hit that like button. We'll be back soon.
Walks well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom McMullen safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the JAKIB Postgame Show. It's not officially the post-game show. A couple of you guys join me in just a second. I want to get through a couple super chats, trying to handle as much post-production as I can on the back end. For those who don't know, I do all the stuff on the YouTube channel as well. So I have to produce, talk, make thumbnails, make titles and postings all simultaneously at the same time, which can be tough, especially when you have an insane heated debate like we just had with John McMullen and Dan Sileo, which was very classic stuff. I see everybody in the chat expecting me to go and become intoxicated because of that segment. I will not be doing that. I will maintain my professionalism, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. Jarrell, I do need a virtual assistant. You could say that 3 times over and it would still be correct. Let me get through a couple super chats here. Josh B becomes a member. Thank you, man. Everybody, Saquon Barkley, he easily hit the number today, everybody. So we got a few new memberships, and we will be giving away a Saquon Barkley jersey. Diego, thank you, Diego. We'll be giving away a Saquon Barkley jersey on Tuesday's Birds 365. Philly Billy became a member. Good stuff there. So we'll be giving away a Saquon Barkley jersey on Tuesday's edition of Birds 365, which is going to be very exciting. It'll be our 4th jersey of the year. Now, all 3 winners so far have requested the Kelly Green. I would anticipate the next person will want the Kelly Green as well. That's what I would want. I mean, I don't have a Saquon jersey. I give them all to you guys, but that's what I'd be doing. That's what I'd be doing too. So great stuff there. Become a member today if you want to have a chance. Brian Pumper checks in. Sills had J-Mac in the walls of Jericho. Keep cooking. That was a hell of a debate. Cameron Ireland says, Jerry. Caleb says, actually agree with John slightly, but situational. Caleb agreed 100% with you. Common Electro, I can't with John. He is an Eagles apologist. He's in Lurie's pockets. If they shave their heads, they can't be trusted. Well, Common, you don't have to like John or you don't have to agree with John, but I know John personally. I've worked with John for 5 years now. I pay John. Lurie does not pay John. Does John maybe sometimes vouch for the organization more than I'd like him to? Yeah, I don't think he does it intentionally, but you got to remember, I mean, it's become a little bit different in modern times where teams can just kick you out at any moment. They can take your press credentials and you're done. These guys make their living, man. That's how they put food on their table. It's how they feed their families. It's how they pay their mortgages. It's how they pay their car notes. It's how they live. So I'm not going to ever criticize someone for doing what they need to do to succeed in their job if it's within the bounds of legality, I guess you could say. I mean, John is not being paid by Lori. No, he's not. John's being paid by me, Jacob. The Philly 500 Mouse of House Club says, I'm with Sills. J-Mac, you are wrong, man. Just take the L. I was on Sills' side. I just thought Sills made a little bit more sense there. I get what John's saying, but I think he's just leaving out too much with the situational calling. Brian Pumper checks in. Confidence versus common sense. What are we doing, fellas? Playing Madden? You can't keep spinning crap to protect the great Nick Sirianni. I would agree, Brian. Jarrell Ray checks in. Jarrell, good to see you, my man. Jarrell says, Lane Johnson said it felt like it should be a 40-point game for the Eagles, but there was a lack of focus in the second half, and they need to work on that at practice with pressurized situations. Well, that's putting it nicely, Jarrell. That's taking a lot off the head coach. I mean, this is my problem with the whole player argument today, because normally I do agree, right? It's a player's game. Who we blaming today? Jalen Hurts was 18 of 24. Saquon Barkley ran for 160 yards. Devontae was involved. Jahan Dotson got involved. Calcaterra was involved. Like, the defense, both linebackers had an interception. Josh Sweat had a sack. Like, who are we blaming on the players today? Nick Sirianni made bad decisions. It kept the game close. I think that's very clear. Nosty Beats checks in. Fred Johnson came down to earth today. I noticed Jalen typically runs behind him in a tush push. That surge wasn't there. It's a good point, Nosty. He did struggle a little bit today, too, against Josh Hines Allen, who's a beast of a player. Also, CJ is a liability. Yeah, I didn't focus much on CJ today. I'll look at, I always rewatch the game, and I'll watch the All-22 and, all those things. I'll probably rewatch the condensed game, which is great if you have NFL Plus. I'll watch that tonight. Doug Pederson was an aggressive head coach. Nick is arrogant. Brian Fleming, I don't have a problem being aggressive, but it has to be within context of the game situation. You go up by 3 possessions, 2 possessions, you take it. I mean, why is that so hard for people to understand or John to understand? I mean, duh. Right? I mean, shit, give me the 3-possession game. It makes complete sense. It makes complete sense to me. But I guess sometimes I'm beside myself. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Let me just do a little production here on the fly for you guys. I'm trying to manage everything all at once, so excuse any issues I have or any hiccups in the show. There are Sills 1, J-Mac none. McMullen voice gets squeaky. That's an instant L. No, that's just how McMullen shows passion. Sileo yells. McMullen showed, his voice goes up a couple octaves, and that's how he has passion, which I'm fine with. Look, I want people to be passionate. Do you want me to hire people who aren't passionate? You want me to give you scrubs? You know what I mean? People that don't give a shit talking about content. I love seeing that because it shows you that both of them care. And I think that creates great content. And I think it serves you guys, the viewers, that keep Jacob alive the best. That's true. I truly believe that we should have people up here who care, who are passionate, who have a take, who put their foot in the stand, whether they're right or they're wrong, and they believe in what they say, and they share it out there. And I believe in that. So I think we have both. I think we have 2 great guys with that, with John McMullen and Dan Sileo. I love both of those guys. I just happen to agree with Sileo on this front. So, but I thought overall it was a great debate. I'm going to read a couple chats in a second about what you guys thought of that debate. I know I was trying to read them on the fly, but talk about something that's hard to do. Reading the chats when they're coming in that quick, and listening to the conversation. I guess I'm no great multitasker, if that's how you quantify being a good multitasker. But I thought it was a great debate. I really did. I like I said, I side with John, with Sileo, but that doesn't mean I don't understand John's points or where he's coming from. You just have to wonder. I mean, we have a team this good, and do you look at it and say, at what point does Nick cost us a game? Is that a fair question? I mean, do you guys believe that's a fair question? Sills won the debate. Flexen says, I enjoyed it. John hates Sills, and you can see it. I just think John is so different than Sileo. I don't think he hates him, Steven. I really don't. I think John takes pride in objectivity. He doesn't say something to get clicks. There's no There's nothing in John that wants him to say something to be a hot take guy. He doesn't want that. Now, I'm not saying Sileo wants that, but I think that's how he perceives Sileo or people like Sileo, like Angelo, like anybody like that, right? John wants objective football talk, which is fine. I think there's a great place for both of them. I don't think he hates them, though. I just think he doesn't like the way he does content as compared to the way John would do content. I think John's also smart enough to know that Sileo is a very successful broadcaster. Very successful broadcaster. You'd be hard-pressed to find one person in the city of Philadelphia, heck, in the country, that I can roll for 4 hours in June, in March, in April, in May, in June, July, August. 4 hours. I click go, and Sileo has something to talk about in an engaging way every single second. He's never missed. 4.5 years. I've been watching the guy do content. He's one of the best I've ever seen do it. And I watch a lot of content. Sileo is, whether you like Sills or not, you have to understand that Sileo is unbelievable at creating content. It ain't so easy to roll camera and come up here and talk. Sills is unbelievable. He really is. And I love him. And he knows that. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm finishing this up, and then I will get to the link for you guys. All right, bang. All right, here we go. Here comes the link. Now, join me up, everybody. Let's go. Get some of you guys in here. Emre says, truth. Yeah, no doubt. Mad Bird, both are amazing. I would agree. I love them both. He's elite like Jalen. Yes, Sileo is elite, 100%. Jacob has a great thing going. Brian says, Brian, thank you, man. I take a lot of pride in what we're doing, and I don't just mean that. I think everybody here has done a tremendous job at helping us grow and has provided more than you know. And I know it, you spend a minute here, it means a lot to me because you don't have to be. You can be anywhere else. Let's get to a couple people in chat. Already everybody joining me. Got Joe Whipp in there. I see Anton, the legendary Bob Brown. I see Abe. Abe's got the Jacob lid on. I love that. Jarrell's in here. Let me go to my man, Joe Whipp. Joe, you ready for me? I'm coming to you, brother.
I'm ready.
What's going on, Joe? What do you think, man? What do you think of today's game? What do you think of Nick Sirianni? What's on your mind when you watch that unfold?
First thing, if the Eagles were watching, this should be the every game helmet.
Yes.
This is an Eagles helmet from the 80s that I got from the Eagles.
Yes.
Please, this should be. I'm sick of that midnight green.
Joe, that is something I think we can all get behind. I like that. Some unity.
Right, so the point I have with Sirianni is you're up 16-0. It's the end of the first half. Why the hell are you chasing 2 points? You missed the 2-pointer, then they chase it in the second half. They don't get it again. It just compounds. It's too early to be chasing 2 points. Yep. It makes no sense. I love John, and Sileo gets, Sileo. But it makes no sense to be chasing 2 points when you're going to be up 17-0, a 3 position. When I was watching it, I said, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And it makes no sense to be chasing 2 points when you're up. It's 17-0, go into halftime. That's to me. And then, then he doesn't, it's like the Atlanta game all over again, where he brings Jake Elliott in cold for a long field goal and he misses it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's where I think the situational part of it, Joe, is gone. Like, I understand what John's saying, right? You're successful. This is what they did to be successful in 22. Don't go away from it. But there's just no application of the situational. Like you said, it's simple. Go up 17 and give me a 3-possession game. It's simple math.
I know.
And that's where I think they're missing overall.
And I watched the O-line, even though they had all that rushing, the O-line didn't have one of their better games. Fred Johnson was being pushed around.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't think Becton played well at all.
I'm actually starting to wonder if Steen's a better fit in there.
I would have pulled him and put Steen in.
Yeah.
Steen moves. Steen's a better run blocker.
I know, and Steen just fits, I think, a little bit better. I know people don't try not to make too much of how tall Becton is, but Jalen's not the tallest quarterback in the world. He's 6'1". I mean, I met Jalen. I was almost eye to eye with him, and I'm like, I wouldn't be able to throw over Lane Johnson and Mekhi Becton. So I don't know. I wonder if that plays into it at
No,
all.
I don't think Becton played well. He wasn't getting any push. I would have had Steen in there in the second half, but what do I know? I'm just a dumbass watching the game on TV.
You're no dumbass, Joe. I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much for doing it. I look forward to talking to you again soon. All right, Joe?
Anytime.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Great stuff from the legendary Joe Whip in the chat. Been a supporter of ours for a while. Big thanks to Joe. Coming to my man, Bob Brown. Coming up next. Bob, good to see you, my man.
Zander, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Bob. How are you doing after that 28-23 win? Hey, listen, Bob, I'll give you the positive. We're 6-2. All right. But what did you see out there today?
Well, we'll address the Sirianni thing first. There's been an expression going on, the enemy within. It's all over the news, right? Sirianni is the enemy within. Now, before my beautiful bride agreed to marry me, I used to spend a lot of time driving down to Atlantic City, sit at the blackjack table. The smartest guy at the blackjack table has to be in the last seat because he knows you're not looking for 21. You're just looking to make the deal or bust. Sirianni coaches like he's got to get 21 on every play. He doesn't have it in him to read the table and say, I know I can take the hit, but let me just take this point and let the dealer bust. He's always looking to prove he's the guy instead of just taking what's right in front of him. Because like you said, you got a 3-score game at the half. Joe Whip hit it perfectly. You missed it. So now you're saying, I'm chasing the money. I'm chasing the cards. And he's no good at it because he can't read the table. It's that simple. He's trying to chase something, and he digs a hole for himself. And again, who is it? Stratus in the chat, Bleed Green in the chat. We're mentioning Saquon's fumble. Well, if we had the right guy at the last seat at the table, you can handle a fumble because you know the guy at the last seat at the table, he's going to make sure the table wins. Nick doesn't have that gene. He just doesn't have it. You're running this season, everybody's running tape. Nick's looking at tape saying, I made 4 or 5 bonehead calls, but we won. So he starts to get confidence in himself, and he shouldn't. But there's coaches out there running tape, and they're going to tell their team, just stick around with the Eagles. Don't give up, because Nick Sirianni is going to show up. And when he shows up, he's going to bust. And that's where we double down, and we can get him. I'm watching it. My mom came to the house tonight, 80 years old. She went to Franklin Field with my dad and watched it. She's sitting next to me going, why the shit am I watching this team? They've been pissing me off for years. This guy's, in her words, this guy's no better than Kotite.
Oh God! Now you just brought up Mrs. Bob, your mother.
Yeah.
Now that must be a smart lady. She must be a smart lady, Bob, because you're a smart guy.
Listen,
and you're talking about someone who's seen it even longer than you.
She's watched a lot of football, and she's watched a lot of bad Eagles football. And I love these guys in the chat. Even Zander, like you're McNabb forward. I mean, I watched Jaworski. I was there in '80 when the championship game. I watched Pisarcik. I watched him march Jim McMahon out there. I mean, the team was just scrambling. I watched a lot of bad football. And the thing tonight, which we got away from, we were about to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Because the enemy from within was deciding that he knew what's best. Jody, the debate was great, but Johnny McMullen said it. We're up 22-0. That's garbage time. I agree. If it's garbage time, why are you going for 2 again? If it's garbage time, you just want to get out of there with the win, keep everybody healthy. You don't try to push it. You didn't need to, but they did. And why? Because he's chasing cards at the table. And anybody in the chat that's played cards, if the cards aren't running and you figure you're going to push through it, that's where you lose your ass. And that's what almost happened tonight. And when we play a team like Baltimore, like I said it in the chat this week, Baltimore does a lot of what we do, and they do it better. I love Barkley, but their running back's a little bit better. I really like Hurts. Their quarterback's a little bit better. But what they don't have is the A.J. Smitty knockout punch at the end.
Yep.
That's what they're trying to find. That's why they're trading for trying to get receivers. They want to do what we do. They just haven't found that, and we have it. If we run the ball, we set up the pass. You don't have to. I mean, I know Sileo wants Hurts to be Vinny Testaverde and throw for 350.
Not happening, man.
Game. But if he throws for 225 a week, he runs for 65, he averages 290 yards all-purpose a game, he's going to have 4,900 yards at the end of the season. That's worth the money he's making.
I agree. And that's why I'm so optimistic right now, because they've started to do that with him, right? I mean, I'm not crazy. Last 4 weeks look great for Jalen.
Look, you're not crazy at all. The thing that they're doing differently is Sileo still acts like anytime Jalen runs the ball, he's the primary running back on the team. He's not. He's Robin to Barkley's Batman, the same way that Smitty is Robin to AJ's Batman. Now, Sileo's right. If you have to run Hurts, and he's got to run for 100, 120, he's got to run the ball. That's not a good setup. But Barkley banging away, you run Kenny in there every once in a while, hopefully not on the goal line because that's not his gig, but you mix that in. Hurts scoots out the back door, keep everybody on your toes. Bam, you hit him over the top. It's not a complicated setup. We just make it complicated because the guy in control of the team doesn't have a feel to read the game when it's going on. There was no reason to use any analytics against a 2-7 team that we clearly had outclassed from the minute they came on the field. We are our own worst enemy, and that's Nick Sirianni. And you can't fire him, but I'll tell you what, trading deadline's coming up. Somebody wants the most winningest coach in Philadelphia history, and I can package him in there and get back something. You're damn sure I'm shipping him out.
Shit, I love it. Trade Nick. Don't fire him. Bob, bring in the bar.
Why get something for him? It's not like it's, trade something.
Yeah, well,
I know it's not going to happen.
Right? They traded Sean
it does not.
Payton
It's happened, but it's happened in the offseason. It's not going to happen in season.
Yeah, it's not.
But Jacksonville, hey, they got two really good ends, and I like Lloyd as their linebacker. You know what? You want a better coach? You give me Nick. I'll take. You could take Sirianni. Give me one of those ends, and I'll throw in a third. Have a nice day.
Yeah. No doubt. Bob, thanks for joining, man. Great stuff today. I got to run. I got a lot of people to get to.
You got it. Great show, guy.
Great talking to you as always. See you,
you too, buddy.
Great stuff from Bob Brown. I freaking love Bob Brown. The guy's a legend. I mean, he's a JAKIB legend. He's a real JAKIB legend. He's been in our chats for a long time. You can see why he's always got great takes in the chat. Let me keep rolling through. Abe, are you ready for me, Abe? I got Abe. Let's get Abe now. Abe, what's going on, my brother?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing? And let me start with the Nick Sirianni stuff. Who won the debate, Sills or McMullen?
You already know Sills won that.
Yeah. What do you think of Nick?
In the dirt. Nick. This is the second game he's done this. It was against the Falcons and now this. But yet we lost the Falcons game because Kirk was able to fucking get past our defense.
Yeah.
This time around, Dean made the interception that saved us the game. You got to understand, when you're losing points, 12 points off the board, you didn't have to do so much. Like, you literally put yourself in the predicament to either get people more injured or lose the game. We could have been 5-3.
You think it's going to be an issue moving forward?
If he keeps on calling the plays aggressively like that, yes.
Forget the calling the plays. What about the game time, the game decisions of going forward and not taking the points and all those things? I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are like, who were successful with it. We don't need to stop doing that. I think that's a fair line of thinking. It's not my line of thinking, but where are you on that?
I mean, look what Kirk did in 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Imagine if it was like that back-to-back plays that we try to take aggressive plays on. You think we're going to win that game?
No.
Our defense couldn't hold up.
Yo, Abe, before I let you go, man, do me a favor. Tilt that head down a little bit. Tilt that head down. Let's check that out, everybody. Abe rocking some JAKIB merch. Let's go,
Yes,
Abe.
sir. I
Appreciate it, man. I'll see you this week in the chat box. I'm sure, my man. I appreciate you being here. And I'll talk to you soon. All right, brother?
All righty. Appreciate it. Go
Thank you,
Birds.
man. Great stuff from Abe there on the JAKIB Postgame Show. Akbar, coming to you next. You ready, my man? Let me get Akbar up in here. Akbar, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Oh, man, you sound crisp, Akbar.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
I love it, man. What'd you take away from the game today? 28-23 victory for the Birds. Moved to 6-2 in the year.
What I took from it, man, is that Philly a fucking problem. We a problem. Like, don't nobody want to see us for real, for real. We keep talking about what other things got and what they doing. Don't nobody really want to fuck with the Eagles right now. That's my take on it. Now, as far as you talking about with Nick Sirianni, I would have took the points. Like, this is my thing, right? This is how this is a little bit different from what everybody else is saying. Everybody's pretty much regurgitating the same shit. In my opinion, Nick Sirianni was being super duper disrespectful to Doug Pederson. He basically was saying, fuck you, no matter what you do, we're not going to win this game. I mean, you're not going to win this game. He like, usually when you see people go for 2 points, you see them do it for, like, you know, to try to even up if they missed a field goal, right, or they trying to make a 3-point game opposed to a 1-point game. But he was just doing it and doing it and doing it no matter what. So the way I looked at it is, and plus they looked like they was playing a JV squad out there. Like, you got fucking Saquon Barkley doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shit out there. Like, that shit was fucking crazy. Like, you know,
dude, that
like, I
was
jumped
nuts,
out my seat.
man. That Barkley hot. I've never seen anything like that.
XZ, check this out, man. We had like 10 fucking highlights of the week in that one game. Now, it would have been disappointed if they lost. It did get close in the end, but I never seen any worry in Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was smiling the whole time, even after the fumble, even after, you know, 2 minutes in the game. Jalen Hurts did not look worried. And to be honest with you, I wasn't worried either. I didn't think that
I never felt like we were going to lose the game.
I never thought we was going to lose that. Was it more competitive than it needed to be? Yeah, but on some real shit, it wasn't even close. It wasn't close, man. Like, what, they scored 28 points? I mean, they could have scored
23. We had 28. They had 23, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and one of my takes was as far as we had a lot of penalties. A lot of penalties helped them with good field position and helped them get back into the game, you know. And then you had the ghost fumble, you know. I kind of understand why they didn't give him that, because what he do? Touch him with a finger? That's going to knock down Saquon Barkley. Like,
I know. I kind of wasn't. That was a spotty call, Akbar. I will say that.
It was, but he barely touched him. Like, I mean,
I know. The thing I think that got Saquon is he took another 2 steps after they touched him, and he also tripped over Dickerson's foot. And you could see that. So I think the refs were like, I don't think, like you said, Dickerson knocked down Saquon. He wasn't down by contact. Now, I don't know. I thought overall it was a spotty call. But last question, man. You think Nick's going to be an issue late in the year, or are you good with where he's at? Because I will agree with your initial sentiment. The way the Eagles are playing right now, that's not a team that many teams want to see. That's a team that's bullying you and running the ball right down your throat. That's a good formula. You think Nick could be a problem, though, late in the year?
Well, Abe made a great point. Shout out to Abe. That's my dog. Shout out to the chat, flexing, all those guys. But he did this 2 times, right? He did this overly aggressive gameplay. This is the 2nd time doing it. So, in my opinion, I mean, I don't really want to knock Nick for being aggressive, because I like the aggressive play. It shows that he has a lot of faith in his offense and his players, and that they can pull shit off. As Johnny Mac said, I agree with him. You have to produce the play. Like, you have to make the play. Like, you can't fumble. You can't be fucking up. You can't be going off sides.
I get that. But where John goes too far is, you're a coach. You got to put players in good positions. If you put them in a shitty position and then they don't succeed, how easy is it to say, oh, the player should have executed. Yeah, well, you fucking could have put me in a better position, dude. That's your damn job. You know what I'm saying, though? And that's where I get pissed because, like, the 4th down conversion where they didn't use the tush push. That was a bad job. That was a bad play call. Now, you're right. We're judging the result. But that was putting your player in a bad position to succeed.
It should have
and
took
that's
the
where
points.
I think, yeah.
You should have took the points. I mean, you play aggressive when that's
push
why I
push.
say that's why I say he disrespected him so bad. He did not believe that at any point they were going to lose that game. He just kept no, fuck the field goal. No, fuck the field goal. We're going for 2. We're going for 2. We're going for 2. 4th and 1. Like he was really, you know what he remind me of? He remind me of, you ever watch Dave Chappelle when he played Rick James and he over Eddie Murphy house and he put fuck your couch. You ever seen that shit when he put in his feet? That's what he did.
I've seen some Dave Chappelle. He's a funny dude.
That's what he did. That's what he did. He put his dirty ass shoes all in Doug Pederson couch today, like real bad. Like he.
I thought that was a good. That's a good take by you. I might use that this week. I'll credit you. That's a good take. And I said the thing I said on the show was, do you think Nick had anything where it's like your ego flares because the guy that won the Super Bowl is here, the guy that has a statue out front here. You want to flex your muscles versus that guy a little bit.
Exactly. And Nick is that kind of guy.
Yeah, I think you articulated it better though.
Nick is a overly passionate, like emotional dude. Like I really feel like he felt that way. Like seeing everything that transpired with Nick through these last 2 seasons and seeing how he's like, overly like, in the crowd's face and all that type shit. Like I don't think he liked Doug. He played Doug Pederson with 0 respect today. 0. Outside of that, I mean, we had like 10 fucking highlights.
Dude,
that
we had a great game.
Huh?
We had a great game.
I felt as though it was a great fucking game. I mean, they scored.
Jalen was no bum juice this week, dude. He looked good.
No, he wasn't. But your boy, did you see your boy get ran over today?
Who? Who's my boy?
Foden Smith. He got folded.
I don't have a boy, Akbar. Let me tell you something. I don't got a boy, bro.
Oh, you was campaigning for him all goddamn week. How about that?
You called him a bum juice last week. He wasn't bum juice last week. He's a developing player.
Okay, I got a question for you. When his contract come up, are you paying him?
As of right now, no. I guess you're right. That does answer your question.
Right on.
Does answer your question.
He got folded though. You should see. It was on a special teams play. Somebody just trucked the shit out of him, ran him right over like he was like a deer on a road. Like
he's a little undersized, but he's coming along as an edge, Akbar. He's getting around.
He doesn't have any power. He doesn't have any power. No, he has no power.
He doesn't have any power against tackles. I mean, you're not going to outpower a tackle when you're 250 pounds. You're just not.
And he's just not strong enough. Like I think he's taller than Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham got way more power. He's a defensive line guy.
Brandon Graham's a stocky dude, man. You ever met Brandon Graham? I met Brandon before. He's a stocky dude. But Akbar, great stuff, man. Thanks for joining in today. Mike sounded great. You look good. You got the glasses on. You're looking fresh, my guy. Appreciate you being here. And we'll talk to you next week. Right?
Thanks for having me. And tell Bob Brown to stop stealing my goddamn takes. He getting on my nerves with that shit.
Akbar, let me teach you something about content. There's no stealing takes in content. You know what it is, Akbar? The person who says it the loudest and gets it out the furthest, that's whose take it is.
Man,
everybody's got the same takes.
I'm recording. I recorded with you when I was talking that boxing and shit. You remember that shit?
No, I remember it. I think you put it in my email on Friday. I did click the link.
I did because Bob Brown is going ham with it. Like he's remixing my rhymes. Like
you can't be blaming Bob Brown. Bob Brown is an OG, man. I love Bob, but no, I appreciate you, man.
Bob seemed like a really nice guy, but he just keeps stealing my take. Is annoying.
All right, well, you're gonna have to cry about it, Akbar. I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't. All right, bro. I'll talk to you next week. All right, man.
All right, it's good seeing you, homie. Take care.
Great seeing you, man. Thanks, man. Great stuff from Akbar. I love the people joining every week. Got a couple more to get to here. Jarrell, coming to you, my man. Jarrell Ray in the building.
Hey, look.
What's going on, Jarrell?
Xander, don't say a fucking word. I just want you to listen. No, I'm not on the treadmill. I did that 7 hours ago. Check this out. I got notes. Notes, bro. I'm going to just go through all this shit. I'm going to just go through this shit, okay? Check this out. The debate with Sileo and J-Mac was very interesting. I can see it from both perspectives, right? I can understand. I can see it. It makes sense. But what pisses me off is when I'm on X and I see Seth Joyner, Acho, all these other old fucks like, oh, you should have did it, blah, 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 blah. Shut your fucking ass up, man. You had your time. Shut up. We here, right? Now, check this out. Sileo was talking about during the game, because look, if you get on X, I was at Cileo's neck the whole game. The whole game. So he's like, Philadelphia hasn't played a good team yet. And I'm like, okay, well, who's a good team, Dan Sileo? I don't get a response. I'm pretty sure he's going to be like, oh, Washington. Oh, Baltimore. Oh, Detroit. I don't want to hear that shit. Shut that shit up. I don't give a fuck about no Detroit, no Baltimore. Now, damn sure don't give a fuck about Washington.
You're looking at it through there's nothing. Does Nick Sirianni give you any concern?
If I was concerned with Nick Sirianni, I wouldn't have been supporting Nick Sirianni since that goddamn game when everybody wanted Nick Sirianni fired. I understand. And you know what? I'm glad you asked me that. I'm glad you asked me that because this is my rebuttal. In 2022, did anybody have a problem with Nick Sirianni being extra aggressive?
Now you sound. Well, I already got one, John McMullen, Jarrell. I don't need two.
This is my thing. This is what Coach Sirianni is. He's aggressive.
You gotta have situational awareness, Jarrell. You got to. You have to have situational awareness.
What week is this?
9. Week 9. We're early yet.
Week 9? So it's not January?
Yeah, but isn't it somewhat naive, Jarrell? Just to play devil's advocate for you. If there's problems in week 9 that aren't being acknowledged as problems, couldn't they come back later to bite you when it means more, when the stakes are higher?
Yes, only if he's not acknowledging those problems. And everybody's like, oh, we're not doing it. He's done it a couple of games, blah, blah, blah. But I say again, what week is this? We can't really run with that until it comes January when the NFC's coming through Philadelphia and then he does something stupid like that to lose us a game. Until that happens, I don't give a fuck what nobody's saying. I don't want to hear that shit. It's week 9. It's week 9. The Washington Commanders had to beat the Bears with a lucky-ass Hail Mary last week, and then today, Danny Dimes almost beats them in the fourth quarter? Danny Dimes almost beats them in the fourth quarter? And we're talking about we're worried about Washington Commanders? Fuck them, y'all. What are we talking about?
Jarrell, on the same note, because I'm with you on Washington, but people can look at us and say, you barely squeaked by the Jags. You barely squeaked by the Browns. You beat all you know what I mean? I'm just saying that can be perceived about the Eagles too. Any given Sunday in this league.
What did you say a little while ago to Sileo? You was like, we're just playing the teams that's on our schedule, right?
Oh yeah, that's all we can do.
That's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
The last time I checked, we're 6-2 right now, right? We got to play Cooper Rush next week.
Oh God.
Is that our fault? Whose fault is that? Is that our fault? You know what else is crazy? Sileo was like, oh, when you play a good quarterback, they're going to destroy you. Okay. We lost to Kirk Cousins in Atlanta because our defense wasn't where they need to be at. Saquon drops a pass. Okay. We got to play Matthew Stafford again this year. If I can recall, we went to Los Angeles last year and gave them the business. Am I right?
I think you are right about that.
The only thing that's different from last year and this year is that Aaron Donald's watching them on TV now.
That's true.
That's crazy. The rest of our schedule.
All right, so if I'm reading this right, Jarrell's got no concerns about Nick Sirianni. He's got no concerns about any other team in the league. Jarrell has the Philadelphia Eagles are your 2024 Super Bowl champions.
You already know. We're going to be in the NO come February. The only game that's circled on the calendar is Baltimore.
When they win the Super Bowl, you're the first person I'm bringing on the show. All right?
Listen.
When they win the Super Bowl, you're the first person I'm bringing on.
The NFC will go through Philadelphia. If it doesn't, I pray for the rest of the NFC. Last thing I'm going to say before you let me go. If the fucking New Orleans Saints trade Marshawn Lattimore to the Kansas City Chiefs, I swear to God. I swear to God.
They might because they're in sell mode, aren't they?
I seen it this morning. They was in heavy talks about letting Marshawn Lattimore go to the Chiefs. And I'm like, why the fuck would you be trying to trade with the Chiefs? What are we doing?
Well, they would because they're in the NFC and they don't give a shit.
They're fucking retards.
Yeah, I saw that. I see this. I see what you're looking at, working on a blockbuster for him. That would be incredible. We'll see what happens. Jarrell, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. Hopefully I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for all your support.
You'll see me next week after we beat Cooper Rush.
Yeah, Cooper Rush's ass. Great stuff, Jarrell. Thank you, man. Great stuff there. From the legendary Jarrell Ray. I love Jarrell, man. He's got a lot of passion, and he's a great supporter of ours, so we appreciate him. Let's go to the man. Hot Sport coming up next. The Aussie Eagle fan. What's up, my man? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, I'm good. I'm a bit annoyed that Jarrell came on before me because I want to do the whole notes thing. I also came a bit prepared. First of all, I want to shout out my boss. He allowed me to use his office for this because I'm at work. So,
what time is it over there? I can't get you guys figured out. It's 10 p.m. at night on a Sunday.
2 p.m. 2:09.
On a Monday, right? On Monday.
Yeah.
Already into the week.
All right, so I've been listening to you guys the whole day, so I'm just kind of taking notes on what you guys have been saying. First off, Dan asked the question, and it's a really good question. Why was they the team that had the chance to win the game on the final possession? That's the big question, I think, for me. And then I'm going to get into the whole Nick Sirianni thing. So I'm going to read you kind of the stuff I wrote down, and feel free to chime in whenever you want.
Rattle through it.
So the first thing is, my question is do you think that Nick Sirianni disrespected the Jaguars today in any way?
I think there's a fair point. I thought Akbar brought that up in a good way. I don't know if it's disrespect. I think maybe it's more so he has an unwavering belief in his team, which at some point, I mean, for anybody in their own life, sometimes you can almost be too confident, right? That it comes to your own detriment. I think maybe there was some of that today, but I wouldn't say disrespect. No.
Yeah. So, what I would say is, because you kept saying, "Oh, do you think this is going to cost us down the road?" And I just think that every single game is a bit different. Like you watch everybody else's games. Point.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, by the way.
You watch everyone else's games on TV, and they all have this dramatic stuff that goes on. And it's because it's not our team, we don't see it as much of a problem as it is when it happens to us. So I just think if you have let's say you have the 49ers, you have the Lions or something in a game like that, the Ravens, I think that Sirianni is going to take that a bit more seriously and be a lot less caution to the wind and realize that we have a chance to get points here. You don't waste it. You know what I mean? I think it's the stage gets bigger. And I think today he disrespected the Jaguars, and therefore that's why I think he did a lot of other things. Now I'd say, I've been definitely positive. I'd say that I disagreed with half the stuff that Nick did today. And I made a list of those things. The first things I disagreed with going forward on 4th down in the first half, 4th and 3. Definitely should have taken the field goal. There's no reason to go for it there at all. The other one was, when we went up 17-0, but then they got the penalty and he went for 2. Just keep it at 17-0 because, again, you make it a 3-score game, right? And the last one I didn't agree with was going forward on 4th down in the second half when, as Dan mentioned many, many times, he actually went away from the push, and the play call on that was terrifying, honestly. But I got when he went for 2 the second time because he needed to make up for missing it the first time to make it a 14-point game. And I also got it the second time we went for 2 after the Devontae TD because, again, it would put us up 14. So the maths made sense for me on that. But I think it's somewhere between what McMullen and what Big Sills was saying. I just think you don't have to get too overblown or too overreactionary about this. But I'd say that Nick does need to be spoken to by the hierarchy, by Jeff Lurie, by Howie, and saying, look, moving forward, we can't be doing stuff like this. It makes us, as the owner, as the GM, look silly.
Yeah.
Because
I think
your
you're right. And I think you're right.
representation of
Where I
us-
think you're really right is I think you're really right about the gray area. Where if you like what I'll say is if you expect Nick to every chance he has to take points, if you expect him to take points, that's a dumb expectation because he's already proven you he's not going to do that, right? But I also think to go for it every single time is dumb too. And that's where I think you're right, where there's a gray area, right? You got to John's right. They're going to be aggressive because it's worked and it's given them a competitive advantage. But you also have to read the room a little bit. And that's where I think he's lacking right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And look, what I'd say is the good news is that here on the Nick thing, and then I'll move on a little bit to the performance because I feel it's been overshadowed, the actual performance of the game.
Yeah, and it's going to be all week. Welcome to the media, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to get better at this every week, this media stuff, yeah?
Yeah,
Look,
I think you're doing a good job, man. I appreciate you doing it, man. I appreciate you taking the time to write it out and be thorough.
Look, I would much rather this happen now so they can have a discussion about it and so that moving forward we can learn from it. And as I think Jarrell just said, like, then you can start to point the blame at Sirianni if this becomes an issue moving forward. If it does eventually, as you guys have asked the question, hurt us in the long run, then it definitely needs to be highlighted. And look, to be honest though, the other besides all that stuff, and I think the answer Dan's question was a combination of Nick Sirianni, and I also questioned the referee's decision on the Saquon fumble because obviously that makes a huge difference in the game. So you got the 9 points basically that Nick gave up because of his decision making, plus the 7 that the 8 actually.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, here's the thing though, because you can play that two ways, right?
17 points.
In the first half though, Anton, we had 16 points, I think it was at halftime.
It should have been way more.
No, but 13 of them came from Jaguars' mistakes. Remember, they muffed the punt. We had a terrible first drive. And then they muffed the punt, and it was almost like we got a 65-yard completion. We got the ball at the 20-yard line. Now, we capitalized, but I'm saying you can say, like, okay, well, maybe. So there's always going to be that give and take, but I understand your point.
And I think one of the reasons why we actually won the ball game at the end is the fact that we won the turnover battle so massively. Like, I think if you win the turnover battle as much as we did, and then
you're going to
look at it at the end of the game, you're like, how did you lose that? But I'd say, first of all, overall, and I'll make it quick because I'll leave you to it because I know you got a lot to do.
Yeah, I got a couple more people I got to get to here.
Look, I think the defense needs to be praised today. I know you guys were a little bit critical of them, but
I thought they were great. Yeah.
Turnovers.
Second half, they got beat up a little bit, but I thought they were put in bad positions. Yeah.
Yeah, look, for I think Nakobe, all the criticism he's had, for him to come up with that big moment, I'm so happy for him. To have everybody in the crowd around him, that was his signature moment so far.
That was the signature moment of his career, my man.
Yeah, and Bond was incredible. Sweaty was incredible. Ringo with the recovery on the muff punt.
On the muff punt, yep.
Amazing. But yeah, look, I have no criticism of performance. I actually thought outside of the Sirianni stuff and the refereeing thing, I thought we were dominant. But my main concern again would be that AJ Brown, I don't want to know what's going on with him because I've mentioned on your show every week how important and how critical he is
number one
to our
takeaway,
success.
Man. Yep.
Number one take, yeah.
My number one takeaway is AJ. I mean, look, that's the thing that's overshadowed because we're not going to know more for a couple of days, so you can't react to it now. But if we lose him, I mean, shit.
What's concerning about it is that it wasn't like it happened. We didn't even have the ball yet in the second half, and
I know
you see him walk into the tunnel. You're like, generally when it's non-contact, that's when you start like, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, and one final thing, I just got to call out Elliott Shore-Parks. I was looking at his game grades. How does Nick Sirianni get an A-? The offense get a C-, and Jalen Hurts get a B. That just sounds a bit upside down to me. If anything, Sirianni gets the C-. I think Jalen still gets a B.
I give Sirianni an F today.
Right,
F.
exactly. But I'm
not giving you a C. A C is a passing grade. Nearly choked the game away.
And I just want you to say this because I know you're Dan Sileo's boss a little bit. He should definitely take a crack at Pauly Shore Parks tomorrow because That guy, I don't know what he says.
I don't ever tell Sileo what to talk about because Sileo is.
I know, and
he's
that's
good.
the beauty of Dan
Yeah,
Sileo.
I'll never tell him,
You
but he
don't
probably
need
will.
to.
Sileo likes to take. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining, man. Great stuff. I'll talk to you again soon. All right.
All right, dude. Yeah, see ya.
Thank you, man. Great stuff again, man. Appreciate everybody coming in today. Clary Voy, I'm coming to you, my man. I got O-line Guru still, and I got D.O. coming up next. Clary Voy, here I come, bro.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good.
What'd you take away from the game today, man? 28-23. Birds moved to 6-2, but boy, a lot to talk about after a win.
It was
like
actually pretty reminiscent of 22. Do you remember when we'd be up a lot by halftime, and then our defense would go and prevent, and then next thing you know, they come back in. We're like, what the hell's going on? And we always blamed, if you remember, we always used to blame our D coordinator. Now it's like, nah, this is Nick. So I'm just
you're
saying,
right about
man,
that.
You know,
what do you think of Nick, man? What do you think of Nick in like the debate with Big Sills and John? Like, where do you fall on that?
Well, so usually I love Wednesdays. All right, I get to see Philly 500. You know what I mean? And the Cowboys, and they talk and they go at it. This was better. I'm not gonna lie, this was better. You know, because
Man,
you got the inside.
Clary, boy, I was on the edge of my seat, man. I'm like, whoa, these dudes are fucking going at it.
Yeah, you're listening to it and you're reading the chat. You're like,
I
this
was
is
laughing,
spotless.
man. Yeah.
You know, it was entertaining to say the least. I will say that it was awesome, but man, it looked like Nick was trying to show to everyone that he's better than Pederson, but Pederson's won us a Super Bowl, and it was our first one ever. It just seemed like it was like, yo, try to embarrass him, because he was lining up for stuff, and he knew he wasn't going to get it, you know, or not get it, but he knew he wasn't going to try to fake it or anything. He was going for it, and it was to prove a point, you know. It is what it is. I still think our team won today in spite of Nick, but that's like the third game that I can think of. Like New Orleans, we won in spite of Nick. In Atlanta, we lost because of Nick, you know, and then today we won. This is now becoming, as you all talk about, like 3 or 4 times, a trend. This is a trend. We're trending that the team is just saving Nick. Nick has always been trying to prove a point. Remember last year, he's like, oh, this is my offense, everything. Well, guess what? It's his offense, but he couldn't take the L. Look at how our offense looked last year. Yeah, it was a top 10 offense, but it looked like it looked like garbage, you know. And then this year, you know, he said it's his offense. Our offense didn't look right. You notice the last couple of weeks, he hasn't been saying this is his offense. Now you hear about the team going to him saying like, yo, we got to run the ball. Why is he not having that narrative now? Because it ain't his offense. Let's be honest. You got to read in between the lines. So it is what it is. You know, like he's here for hopefully next year they do really well. I'm telling you right now, I think actually the playoffs are going to come through Philly. Look at I said it earlier this week. Look at their schedule. And then because I know you all read my comment and it was like, hey, it's always going to be, well, they haven't played no one. Because all they're going to be playing right now, they have 4 teams left on the schedule with winning records. Now 5 because they play the Redskins twice, they play the Ravens, and now I'm pretty. Did LA win today?
I think LA won. They were winning. Yeah. It's so hard for me to follow the league on game days. I got to be honest. Yeah, they won. They beat Seattle in overtime, 26-20.
So LA won, and I think there's one other team that I'm forgetting. But anyways, those are the teams that have 500 records or better than 500 records for the rest of the season.
Right.
So you're going to hear if they were to win out, it's like, oh, look at their competition. That's what you're going to hear. And remind you of 22? Does it remind you of 17? Because it does to me. You know, so they're going to be coming through Philly.
Are you telling me right now, Clary Boy, that you're getting the sense that this is a Super Bowl squad? Is that where you're at right now? You're bringing up 17 and 22 a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Even today, it looked like 22 to me. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. It looked like 20. Jalen looked good.
Jalen looks lights out right now. There's nothing I have bad to say about Jalen Hurts right now.
Nah, Barkley's a monster, dude. If you were to tell me today, hey, you're going to miss all these 4th downs and the 2-point conversions, and Nakobe Dean's going to get the game-sealing interception, I would say you're drunk, you're high. But guess what? That shit happened. You know what? So it is what it is. Maybe I'm in a different universe, you know? So when it comes to it all, my bad, my kid's right here. Ugh.
You're good, man.
Yeah. So
kids first. What's up, little buddy? I don't know.
Yeah. Say hi. Say hi. Yeah.
Welcome to the show, my man. He can't
so,
hear me, right?
You know, he can't hear me. Next thing you know, he'll be telling me to put the headphones on. But yeah, man. So I don't know. We'll see. When it comes to everything going on with the Eagles, I think it's going to go through Philly, but it's only going to go as far as Nick learns to just kind of balance himself and just go with the mojo of the game.
Yeah,
but
I think it's almost like a common sense approach, right? Like be a little bit more or less on edge.
Yeah,
about everything.
I understand being aggressive because the times that people need to be aggressive, they're like, nah, I'm not being aggressive. With him, he's like, you know what? I'll be right once in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm right now. I can look at it in hindsight, just be like, I'd much rather him be aggressive than not aggressive when he needs to be.
No, you're right about that. Great stuff, man. Thank you for joining. By the way, man, I like your pad. Is that like a log cabin you got going on?
Yeah, dude. I live in a log cabin. Here, let me so you can kind of see. I'm trying.
Damn, bro, you got a pad.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's really dope, man. If you don't mind me asking, where you don't have to tell me specifically, but where are you at?
Man, I live in Mississippi. I'm from the Philadelphia area. I grew up. I joined the Navy, and then when I was in the Navy, I'm like Jarrell. I'm in the Navy. I was in the Navy, and then I got out. I work for the Navy now. I'm in Mississippi.
Awesome, man! Thank you so much for the service, bro. That's a dope story. That's cool.
Yeah, dude. We all got a story, man.
Thank you for joining, man. A nice pad. I love the little kid running around. You got it going on. Great insight today, man. I'll talk to you again soon. All right, bro.
Later,
man. Great stuff from Clary Void, man. Everybody's been killing it on the show today. Let's go to the legend, Caleb Brannon. What's up, my brother? Good to see you, my man.
What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Good, man. I'm doing great. Great to talk to you again. It's been a couple weeks in a row now, and you've been on the money, my man. This team is looking better than ever with a run-first approach. What did you take away from today's win?
I think it was a good win because a win is a win.
Yep.
I will say this. I think that the Nick criticism, if it's at a 10, should be about at a 6. I think that he was I think that we do got to give him credit because he's still doing better. So I'm gonna heed to that. I'm gonna give him a pass because a couple of them was the tush push.
I don't want to give him a pass
from 2 yards.
Dude, I can't give him a pass.
Hold on. The tush push from 2 yards away was crazy to me. 2 yards is too much. Give me a yard and a half.
I agree with that.
And the inches one, you got to tush push it.
You got to tush push. Right.
You got to tush push it.
Yeah, I agree with
you
that.
You got to tush push it.
Now, here's why I don't want to give him a credit, dude, or off the hook. This team is too good for us to waste this. Right? Like, I'm a younger fan, admittedly, right? I was born in 98. I haven't seen, but when I think about the Eagles, I have the Eagles encyclopedia. I read all about the Eagles history. This seems like one of the greatest rosters we've ever had. We can't waste this with a fucking coach who does, dumb things. And that's where I get mad scared about Nick Sirianni blowing something at the wrong
I agree. And that's why when sometimes John is very critical of fans being very critical of Nick, I'm like, bro, we got a window, though. We have a window.
Right.
We got about 3 years. So I understand he's the highest win percentage, but that's not the goal. The goal is the Super Bowl. So I understand that. I think Jalen Hurts is balling right now, but like I said, in rhythm, he's amazing. Now, I understand everybody was critical of him. You remember a couple weeks ago, it was one morning show, and John was like, well, some of the audibles been on him, and, sometimes and I understand that. And I was like, bro, we got to put it on the coaches, though, because it's their job to put him in position. Keep him in rhythm, he's fine. You can throw the ball 25, 27 times with Hurts.
Right.
In rhythm. That's the key.
No, you're right, man.
Look
how good Jalen looks right now. Jalen looks
in rhythm.
He looks so good
because he's in rhythm. I believe we're fine right there. Shout out to Fangio. I was critical of him in the beginning, but he has really showed he's the master of that system. He's done elaborated on it even more than Gannon. I know Gannon balling over there in Arizona, but I think from a defensive scheme point of view, the last 3 games has been some of the best defense we've seen, even during the 22 season.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I know the sacks was up there in numbers, but I'm talking about just from throwing out different looks and everything.
Granted, you did play some shoddy offenses. I mean, not the Bengals.
For sure. But we're warm. We gonna see.
You're not wrong. You're seeing flashes of greatness on this defense.
I can see it.
They got to put it together versus a great team. But you're right for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to the Baltimore game, so we're gonna see. I'm right now.
Oh, are you? Oh, we got another viewer that's going. Who else is going?
Jarrell, because I was listening.
Is that Jarrell who's going? I knew somebody else said it. I'm like, shit, we got a bunch of dudes going to Baltimore.
you remember, I ain't gonna say because he said, but I was also one of the first ones. All I needed to see was a half from Cleveland. And I said, if they got any common sense, they're gonna lean onto this. If they got anything up there, anything, bro, they're gonna lean into this. I'm worried about Tampa. Hopefully we're not fools. Every time we go to Tampa, somehow we forget how to play football and we throw the ball on first down every time. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, but besides them, Detroit gonna be nice. If they come through Philly, like I said, after Cleveland, I know it seemed early then, but I seen it already. I'm not worried about nobody in NFC. I'm not worried about nobody, man. I'm not worried.
Winning. They beat the Packers. That was a good win for them. Great stuff, man. Appreciate you joining as always.
Also, just to let you know, man, a lot of my insight, I did play college ball. I played against a lot of the greats. So I'm just not talking just from I like how you credit it, but
I could tell you knew football the minute I talked to you.
Yeah, I just want to preface it because sometimes I know I don't ever just throw it out there because I don't want to seem like I know more or something. I'm not trying to say it.
I hear you.
I
get it, man.
Preface it like I'm not just rambling when I say we need to run the ball early because it changes our whole football team.
Here's the reality of getting on air and making an opinion, brother. Everybody's going to have an opinion about your opinion, right? And you got sometimes you let them roll off the shoulders. But I hear you, man. Thanks for joining today, bro. Talk to you soon.
You're killing it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, bro. That's great stuff there from Caleb. Checking in, talking to him for I think the only week I didn't talk to him, I think was week 1. And I've had him every week since. And he's been great. Let's get to Dio. Dio's been patiently waiting. Dio, you ready for me? I'm coming to you, brother. What's going on, man?
Indeed. You guys are amazing. I love the Superfly takedown by Johnny Mac tonight.
Oh, you're on the Johnny Mac side.
Indeed. You have to be. I mean, how can you go different than the O-line guru, Jarrell, and the Aussie, man? They all have him. They all have his back, dude. That's some heavyweight right there.
And I appreciate you joining. Thank you for being patient, by the way. I had a lot of people to get through tonight. Senor, I'm getting to you next.
I appreciate it too. I was here last week. I've been there
I know.
A couple
and then
weeks.
I saw you put in the chat. You had to run. Yeah. So I appreciate you, man.
But I was going to tell you too, my fandom, man, it goes way back. So I've been a fan since I was 10. I was originally a fan of the Raiders and stuff. So that's like, for me, that's 81. So it was right before the Super Bowl. So that's when I got into it. But yeah, love you guys' show. Did you want anything at all or takes?
I was going to ask you about Nick, but if you want to run, you're good, man.
No. I'm good. I just didn't want to take too much time.
No, you're good, man. No worries. I'm in no rush. What'd you think? What do you think of Nick then? I mean, you said you're on the Johnny Mac side, but what does that mean? You don't have any concerns with Nick?
No, everyone's going to have concerns. Don't get me wrong, but I think the fool learns a lot. So he works harder than probably any other head coach, and you can tell by the size of the bags under his eyes, right? I don't think that just Howie Roseman bags.
I've joked that being the coach of the Eagles is like the president. You ever seen the pictures from the presidents, how they age? It's like Nick Sirianni. He looks like he's 60 now.
I think even Doug, when he was there, looked kind of the same way, man. He looked refreshed 18 months after he wasn't here anymore,
Mm-hmm.
But so for me, there was definitely some bonehead things. O-line guru had it right with those two. I think you should throw in the other one in there, like you mentioned as well, with you got to go up 3 scores when you got the chance at the 17.
Yeah, right.
You can't not do. I mean, but I think all the other ones going for it, you can't question them as much to some degree. I mean, for me, it's not. It's almost like complimentary football. For me, because it's like if he relies on the team and they get the touchdowns, then it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy when they go for the thirds and ones in the fourth, and then they have that confidence. And then he also has confidence in the defense. If the offense is going for it, it's like a whole confidence thing and that connection stuff that, I really don't buy most of the time anyway, but I am trying to sell it to you.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. Well, I appreciate you joining today, man. Great talking to you. I love getting a new person on. So I had you on. I think you're the only new one so far. And then I got Senor coming up. He's new.
Yeah, the Senor's great, man. Thank you guys again. You guys are doing it well. And thanks for making this happen for all of us as well, too. So
of course, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Great stuff, man. Love talking to the great people of JAKIB Nation. Senor, I'm coming to you, brother. Let's go. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. You look dope. I like the Eagles hat. You got the Eagles shirt on. You're looking fly.
Thank you. So, I don't know.
What'd you take away from today's game, man?
I hate to say it, but I agree with Phil. It's like, take the point. That's 9 points we could have gotten off the field goals. You make Jake Elliott cold because he's not out there kicking any field goals. And then you ask him to go kick a 50-plus yard field goal. So it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like, every time, like, Nick goes for it the first half, And then he starts changing his mind, saying, you know what, second half, let's pull it back. Let's start trying to get Jake Elliott out there to kick some 50-yarders and make them. He's 0 for 3 so far, 50-plus yards. So it's like no field goals the whole game for him. And then when he goes out there, he misses. And it's just like, John, I see what he means when he says it's the player's fault for not executing. He puts them in position to execute. They don't get it. Barkley should have gotten a few more yards, maybe gotten the first down if he kind of went for it. He probably thought he was by the sideline. You know, you can't just say, hey, try to get the first down. You know, you have the ball in your hand. You're already going for it. Just don't slide down. And then, you know, people are telling Barkley, you know, you should have caught that at the Falcons game. You don't want to, like, you know, put the blame on him for losing the game this time. So he slides. So I get it. So he's kind of saying it's in his head. I get that. I agree with him. I just think Nick is kind of making these like decisions that are kind of putting the Eagles in a chance to like lose the game more often than just saying, you know, 2022 is great, but they played a fourth place team schedule. So it's like you played against that team. Now, this year, you might not say they're playing the best teams in the league, which is true. They have a tough stretch coming up. The Ravens, the Commanders, and I believe it's the Rams. So it's Cowboys next. You know, we'll see what they do. They haven't been that great. And then it's Commanders for pretty much first place in the NFC East. Then you have the Rams, and then you have the Ravens. So those three games, it's really going to tell the Eagles, are they really a playoff contender, or are they just going to get into the playoffs and just lose in the first round or lose in the second round, and that's it? You're playing against good teams. The Lions is probably the only team that really scares me.
Yeah, no, we got some tough teams coming up for sure. But overall, our schedule's kind of easy, Senor. I mean, it's not easy, but like somebody put out something, you know, a couple weeks ago that the strength of schedule for us for the rest of the year is low. You think Nick's going to cost us late in the year, or are you not that concerned?
I mean, the games they played, the Jaguars, they should have beat. The Bengals, they should have beat. The Giants, they should have beat. And the Browns, they should have beat. They beat all of them. But
should be.
Should
be. Keyword should.
Like they beat the Bengals. I thought they were going to blow out the Jaguars. But then I started seeing Nick go for those 2-point conversion. I'm like, what are you doing? You're already up. Just kick the field goal. Just, you know, get the one extra point. You missed two. Doug Pederson on the other side makes his two-point conversions to get up to 16, down 6 at half or right after halftime. So it's kind of like, you know, it's like they're converting, we're not, and you're still going for 2 because you're trying to make up. I like what one of the guys that analogy with the blackjack. Like he's just chasing those losses that he already did, and it's just like take the point. You're already up.
I hear you, man.
I hear you. You can get away with bad teams, but you're not going to get away with it when you're going up against the Chiefs defense, the Lions that actually have guys on offense that are going to score a lot easier. We're looking great against the Giants, the Bengals, the Browns. So our defense looks great, but they're not really battle tested against like an elite QB passer, an elite running back. The Lions have, you know, Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon Ra. So it's like we're not playing the Jaguars with that. We're not playing the Bengals with, granted they do have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They did a great job, but it's not like they're going to like, let's see what they do against Puka and Cooper Kupp. Let's see what they do against Lamar and Derrick Henry. You know, are they going to be a great defense though, or are they just going to run up the score on us? And then, you know, who's to blame at that point?
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Thanks for joining us, Senor. I know you gave Sills a lot of shit.
I agree with him. Like, I agree with him with pretty much all of his takes. Like today, like Jalen.
Tonight you do.
Yeah.
But Tuesday it might be a different story. We'll see.
Yeah. He says on Monday.
Great stuff, man. Thanks for joining. All right, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Great stuff, man. Appreciate everybody tonight joining in. I got one guy left in the chat. His camera's off. I don't know if he's ready for me or what. You ready for me, my guy? I can't see it or anything. Let's see if I can get this guy in here. You out there, brother?
You see me?
I don't see you, but I hear you.
You hear me? Can I turn my camera off?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Don't worry. One day I'm gonna show. Don't worry, Zan. One day I'm gonna show myself. I think everybody knows me as C24. You know me?
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was a good win today. Being 6-2, definitely better than 5-2. Definitely, I'm a little nervous because my first time doing this, but
No, you're good, man. Hey, listen, I know you're a big troller, so sometimes I get upset with you with messing up the quality of the chat. But I appreciate. Hey, listen, not everybody is ready to come into the Thunderdome.
Yeah,
so I think the fact that you're
yeah.
here is respectable. I'll give you
Yeah.
that.
Hey, look, Xander. Listen, some of the stuff that your show says, I 70% disagree with it. First off, I 70% disagree with it. But the Eagles got the dub today. I'm happy. I'm happy. So sometimes I watch the show, and then when Seals talks all that junk, I just leave. Because I'm not gonna let him overcrowd my happiness. But
Sills is living rent free in your head, C24. He's
I know,
living rent free in your
I
head.
know, I know, but
You can't
sometimes
even show your face on here because Sills, a picture of Sills might pop up. C24.
yeah. The criticism, Zan, I just follow my gut and just take it,
I hear you,
But
man.
but some of the things you guys say here, it kind of be true. I remember the first time I hopped on here, Seals was talking about Jordan Davis is bad, and I was like, oh my goodness. But then later, I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, he could be a little bit better. But anyway, I'm not gonna hold you for longer.
Well, listen, I got one question before you leave, all right, man? And don't worry, I'm not going to put you in a bad position. I appreciate you coming on the show. It means a lot to me, and thanks for the support of the network.
All right, thanks.
What do you think of Nick Sirianni?
Remember, I think his name was Jarrell. No,
Yep,
John.
Jarrell. Jarrell was in the tank and looked like a hotel room. Jarrell's a legend. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things he said was, I don't think it was Jarrell, but it was somebody else. He said the pressure on Nick is at 6, should be at 6.
Yeah, that was
I
Caleb,
think,
but yeah, I got you.
Yeah. I think it should definitely be at like a 7.5, trending towards 8, because you cannot be a head coach and just doing all that. Just not making good decisions. Like we got one of the things I learned from football is if you have a shot to get some points, just get the points. Like instead of going for 2, just kick the field goal. Like there's no reason for you to kick the extra point. To go for 2. The Jaguars, either way in the NFL, is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy in the NFL. So don't play around with teams that you know that you have a possibility to lose to. But anyway, we got the dub, Xander, and I'm happy. I'm happy. Hopefully, Seals is happy that he's eating crow right now.
Sills don't give a shit if we win, my man. Sills is making great content. All right, wait. One question before you leave. How many YouTube channels do you have?
Okay. You ready? Okay, so most of them I had them unsubscribed to JAKIB, but right now I say about 29.
29. That seems low, man. I think it might be high. I think I got 20. I might have 29 C24s blocked.
Yeah. That's how much. That's how much you got blocked. That's how much you got blocked though. And look, I promise you I will stop the trolling, but flexing. One thing for flexing is flexing here.
I don't know. I'm not sure if flexing's here.
Hey, look, everybody's looking for flexing. Tell them that we are so close to 7 to 9 wins. We are so close to that.
That's right. Well, Flexen did say 7 to 9 win team. I'll hold them to that. Yeah, Steve, thanks for joining, man. Pretty cool of you to step into the Thunderdome despite all the
you'll see a lot of me
everything.
lately. You'll see a lot of me after every game, win or lose.
All right, what are you? Your new one, COF for now. That's what it is, right?
That's me.
Yeah,
you got me.
You thought I didn't know. I said I've seen enough of this guy to know.
There you got me.
I had you down, my man. All right, thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, no, thanks for having me on.
Thanks, man. See you. Great stuff, man. Great stuff from everybody. JAKIB Nation, man. JAKIB Nation is JAKIB Nation the best? Am I just biased, everybody? Is JAKIB Nation the best in the world? I'll say it's the best in the world, man. I'll say it's the best in the world. I fucking love all you guys, man. You guys are the absolute best. Hot Sports still listening to me from the back end. See you, bro. Appreciate it. I see Dio still listening to me. Appreciate all you guys, man. Thanks for everybody for all the support you guys have given to the channel. It's been a massive couple of months for us, and you guys have made it all happen. So I can't thank you guys enough for the support. I am going to read a few more super chats before I get out of here because I don't want to let anybody dry. I say this every week. The post-game show is very hard with the super chats because you got to balance. Remember, we post out the segments for everybody to listen to after, and we get thousands of listeners after the live. So I got to balance getting Sills' take, getting John's take, trying to get the super chats, getting my take in there, getting so it's a little bit of a juggle job. And I'm not complaining at all, but sometimes it gets tough to read all the super chats. And I appreciate it. Jameson, thanks, man. Appreciate it, man. Call me a goat. Look at that. I'm not a goat, but I appreciate you, your support, Jameson. I know you've been here for a while, man. Clary Void, we heard everyone's takes, but what's yours for today, JAKIB Nation? It's a good question, Clary Void. I think I gave it out there a little bit on the show. I try and let the big hitters talk mostly with Sills and Johnny Mack. But look, my take is it's a good football win. It's a bad coaching performance. And my fear it will consistently be, will we waste this roster? Will we waste it with Nick Sirianni making dumb decisions? And I appreciate the people who are positive. I appreciate guys like Jarrell who say, don't worry about it, who we're going to figure it out. And I appreciate that because, like, in a way, I view things like that too. But there's also a pessimist in me who's like, this could be a problem. I mean, remember, and somebody just put it in the chat. I don't know who it was. Remember, we're striving for greatness. We're striving for excellence. We're not striving for 10 wins and being in the playoffs. Like, I don't give a shit about that. I want to win it all. And I know only one team can win, so most of the time you're going to be upset, but you got to at least strive for that. And I think that's where Nick Sirianni really has me. I don't know. I just don't trust the guy yet. You know, I think he's got a great record, but look how good our team is. Like, what would Doug Pederson's record be with this roster? What would Andy Reid's record be with this roster? What would Mike Tomlin's record be with this roster? What would pick a great coach? You know, and that's where I'm like, is Nick gonna fuck it up for us? That would be my biggest concern. But Clary Void, thank you, man. Appreciate you. By the way, great job on the show, man. Love your log cabin, by the way. Got a warm place in my heart for the log cabins. I love them. Great stuff, man. Thanks for the support. Brian Pumper checks in. Brian, thank you, man. Always a supporter of the channel, and we appreciate you very much. Brian says, anyone who vouches for a head coach who tried to emulate Saquon Barkley by calling plays, huddling with his back turned, should have their heads checked. Did Nick do that? I didn't see this. Did Nick do that, Brian? Listen, Nick's a goofy guy. If you don't like Goofy, you're not going to like Nick. RJ says, no, you tell the O-line to get you 1 yard. I think you're talking about the tush push. You're right about that, man. Give me a yard, right? Brian says, J-Mac going to be smiling in his sleep tonight. That Jalen Hurts exchange gave McMullen an extra twinkle in his eyes. Maybe. I'll be talking to him in the morning on Birds 365. So I'm looking forward to that show, man. We might have a couple fireworks in the morning because I'm not just going to sit there and agree with John. I just don't agree with him on everything. So I'm not going to, I don't want to create too many fireworks, but I'll be talking to him. We'll get him up. Cameron says, Jerry. Yeah, he's driving that team into the dirt. That team is on the way to the grave faster than Jerry is, for crying out loud. Let me find. I got holy shit, man. We got a lot of super chats today. Oh God, Brian Fleming, one of the funniest guys we ever had. You got to fire that useless cheerleader and put him back in the cuck chair. Come on, man. Brian says, I'm going to end this clown Sirianni. Nick is a wanted man in the Philly streets. He will see my wrath rain upon his world. I want Sirianni. Interesting comment there. Dez says, Barkley fumble hurt too. Bond and Dean shine. Dez, great take. No doubt. 304 checks in, our resident Cowboy fan. Yes, need the Eagles to win enough to keep Nick. Oof. That's what your adversaries are thinking, everybody. Travis Parrish checks in. 200 total yards for Jags isn't struggling. They had 30 yards halfway through the third quarter. The only way they got back was bad coaching. It's a good point. That's why we were hard on the coaching today. Appreciate you, Travis. Murda, I don't know what that says. Murda, grown or something. Mr. Fortnite almost blew the game with that pass interference. Dude, they put him back out there. He gets a costly. Why is Avonte Maddox on the field at this point? I mean, I said the same exact thing. Thanks for the checking in, man, with the $2. John Wick checks in. I like that name. John Wick. John Wick, but John for Philly. Love it. This game shouldn't have been close. Nick the moron left 9 points on the field. Fire Nick. John is done with Nick. Big Fish says, if he has them kids at the presser, I'm done. I got to look. I don't know if I didn't see anything yet because I've been doing the show. I got to see what the hell he does. Brian, damn, Brian, you get a lot of supers today, man. Thank you for the support, brother. He says, why give your scrawny kicker a captain's patch when you don't use them? Are we allowed to kick field goals inside of 55? Sirianni can catch the fade. Brian, not happy with Nick. Like I said earlier, we need another running back. Barkley will not hold up and gain less as a momentum killer. We need a running back at the deadline. Give me Etienne. Actually, not a bad thought. I just don't think they're not gonna invest more in the running back, man. You think they're gonna trade a pick to get a running back? I don't see it. J-Mac finna blame Barkley. Watch, haha. McMullen won't fool me with his tactics. He didn't blame Barkley today, but appreciate it. John Wick, this is the best comment. There's a difference between aggressiveness and stupid. Agreed, John Wick. Joe High says, can we get John Mack to voice our concerns in a press conference? Joe, I appreciate that thought, but that's not John's job, man. It's, that's not what his job is. But I appreciate the sentiment. I mean, I get what you're saying. That's not what he's doing. That's not what he's here for. If I got a press pass, that's what I'd be doing. But they'll never give me a press pass, man. Jalen All Sicko, D.O. Mad Day, the crazy name Jalen checks in. Appreciate it, man. Analytics says when miss on first attempts, then odds go up for later attempts. You should still account for logic, game, circumstance. Great take. Appreciate that, man. I think you're spot on with that. Daniel Bigelow, Jags have 5 losses of 5 points or less. Yeah, man, it's been close. It's been really close for them. They've also gotten blown out. I think they lost 47-10 to the Bills. So it's been up and down for them. Anthony Wilson checks in. Not a Nick Sirianni fan. However, he coached this team to 2 blowouts, and y'all bitching about a 5-point win when they gifted Jacksonville 8 points. Anthony, bro, I love you, but are you seriously going to tell me that you had no issue with Nick Sirianni's performance today because we blew out the Giants? I mean, seriously? Come on, Anthony. Again, we're looking for greatness. We're looking for greatness. I appreciate the super chat, man. Tyler Conger. I don't know how to say that. I'm normally pretty good with pronunciation, but I don't know why that's tripping me out. Conger? Am I tripping? What do you guys think in the chat? Conger? I don't know. Nick needs to go. Imagine this roster in games without him holding his team back there, winning in spite of him right now. Sadly, I kind of agree. I mean, I don't think they're winning in spite of him completely, but I think he's done things that have significantly put his team in a worse position, and that would concern me. Thank you, though, for the super chat. Excuse me. Getting a yawn in, everybody. November, what is it? 10:49. Little late night content here. Cal says, I think Nick got his play calling powers removed. Maybe. Be aggressive when it's appropriate, Barrett says. But when Sirianni is aggressive all the time, that's just called being reckless. I agree. Polska the trucker checks in. There's no excuse for the head coach to call those types of plays. He needs to be put in the closet and lock him in there. That's a little aggressive. Prince, what's up, Prince? I don't know if you're still here, but I appreciate it, man. Nick made the same mistakes in the Falcon game today. It almost cost us again. While being aggressive is important, half of those calls were dumb. Prince, I would agree with you 100%. Amber checks in. Appreciate you, Amber Baker Dauberman, a member for 2 months. This is a member chat. Big Sills, you better not sit back and allow McMullen to spew his stupid takes. I don't think he did that today, Amber. Sills, I look, honestly, I wanted Sills and John to both. I didn't like the personals. I don't think they needed to personally shit on each other, and they kind of both did. But I love the debate, and I wanted them to go at it. I thought they did a good job at it. Brian Pumper says, CT Nick is ruining my fandom. Brian, I'm going to call you out after this. He says, his incompetence keeps me up at night. I'm not able to enter REM sleep because of this cannoli. Brian, 2 weeks ago, it was Jalen Hurts. Now he's playing good, so it's Nick. Brian, are you a perpetual sad boy? Come on, Brian. Come on, Brian. So, M. Reyes, what's up, M? Appreciate you, man. Sills, can you keep the tears out of my Sammy? Appreciate that, M. Reyes. JH checks in. Sills, Baltimore and Detroit secondary sucks. Look at the numbers. Jalen will carve them up. We'll see. Those are tough teams to play. We'll see, though. Mesmerize says, is it too optimistic to think Nick self-scouts his decision-making from this game and learns, or have we seen too much to say he probably won't? I'd lean he probably won't. I'd lean he probably won't. Sean Mims, appreciate you, Sean. Allen needed a last-second field goal to win versus the Dolphins. Yeah, that game was crazy. I didn't even see the ending because I started the post-game show, but I'll go back and check the highlights from today on social. Hey, the Phillies Ace 34. What's up, bro? Hey, Big Bill. Big Bill. Who the hell's Big Bill? Big Sills, I guess. You be gushing over Josh Allen being elite. A majority of his wins come to lesser teams because he has no help. Not saying Hurts is better. Well, I'm glad you're not saying that because Josh Allen is a great football player. I mean, I know everybody likes to joke with Sills about Josh Allen. We're all football fans here. Josh Allen is a very good football player. Very good quarterback. Easily one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I get it. It's become like a funny joke, though. And I appreciate you. Brian Amorin, appreciate you, man. Says, Big Sills, how you doing? Can't wait to see Big Sills' show tomorrow. We already read that one. Brian and Morin again. Appreciate it, man. LMA, it don't matter who we beat. Sills will only be happy when they beat the U. I wish I read that to Sills. Hopefully Sills is still listening. I don't know if he is or not. That's a good one, though. Jarrell, this was before Jarrell came on the show. This is the kind of guy Jarrell is. I love it. Get me the F in here. I'm about to rebuttal all this shit. Good stuff, Jarrell. Thank you, man. Appreciate your support, man. Byron Nails checks in. Smitty and Barkley top 10 plays on ESPN. Hats down. Definitely. That Smith catch is already, I mean, I'm almost mad at myself for doing this show for 3.5 hours. That's what we're on. 3.5. We're 3.5 deep, everybody. I didn't bring that up enough. That catch was unbelievable, man. Unbelievable play. Dirty Air checks in. Nick ain't going anywhere. His hair just grew too much this week. He needs to reshave his head. Nick the Bick. Hey, maybe he will. I don't know. Apparently he was crying because his wife didn't like it. Mean Dean equals Bobby Boucher. I like that. I already read that, I think. Read that. Didn't know. Doug playing for a job. Oh, shit. Now I'm yawning. Now you guys got me yawning. Did Sirianni take it easy so Doug didn't get fired? No. I don't think so at all. Top 2 linebackers in the league, Bond and Dean, no. Josh Herman checks in. Hey, Xander, just to answer your question about who beat Slay, gave up the touchdown in Atlanta, to be fair. Yeah, no, I didn't say nobody beat him. I said he's made great plays this year. I appreciate it, Josh. Thank you, man. Thanks for correcting me. I'm always good to be corrected. I'm all good with that. Edward L says, my God, guys. This is a whiny chat. You can almost hear the whininess in the tone. Edward, if you're in here, I'm not trying to chirp you, man. I'm just messing with you. He says, my God, guys, love John and Birds 365, but you guys need a better post-game format. Miss the old days. Can't listen to this crap after every game. Then, Edward, go to a different channel, bro. What do you want me to say to that? Caleb Brandon checks in. Xander, I love this. John and Sills going at it. Keep running the ball on first. Hurts is elite. Winning is a QB coach stat, the man on the mountain. Great stuff, Caleb. Thank you, man. And appreciate you joining again today. You were excellent as always. Sills is gaslighting his ass off. No, he wasn't. Johnny Mack would die for Nick Sirianni. He would take a bullet for Nicky, yet he says Barkley ass. Joe High, a competent coach will realize the play is no longer working. Well, I don't think it's no longer working. I think they should have stuck with it there. Sills 1, J-Mac 0. McMullen got squeaky instant L. I don't agree with that, but yeah, I hear you. I thought Sills did win. I don't have a problem being aggressive. Oh, we read that. Brian, thanks, man. Oh, this is a great take. A checks in. Doug Pederson was an aggressive head coach. Nick is an arrogant head coach. I do sense a little arrogance sometimes from Nick with the over, double down on going for it, but I get it. Nosty Beats checks in. Fred John, I already read that. I think we got them all. I think we got them all except for the new ones. Brian Pumper, one more. Jalen Hurts is all right, I guess. He still took way too many sacks. At one point, he held the ball for 15 seconds and took a sack. Fred Johnson was pissed. Well, Fred Johnson's got his own worries, man. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a playmaker. He's going to hold the ball longer than catch and release guys. It's just not his game. He's not his game, man. It's not his game. Look at Amber. Xander, you have a good thing going. I'm aware of your yawning and ready to go. All right, man. Give me some slack, will you, bro? It's all right. I don't need slack. Big Sills is the man. Big Sills is a legend. Big Sills is an absolute fucking legend. And I don't care how many haters email me constantly to get him fired. I don't care how many people don't like his takes. He's a legend on JAKIB. And I love having him. He says, you can't sense McMullen's arrogance. No, Amber, I do. I do. I don't have a problem with it because I think that's what makes John John. And I want people to, like, I think people all have their own thing to add. And McMullen, in a way, is arrogant in his beliefs, but that's what makes people believe him, Amber. And that's what makes people listen to him. He's also got a very, a monotonous delivery, but I think people love it. Like, I have people email me and they're like, John is like my therapy, where I just listen to John and it's just relaxing. So, no, I mean, look, I think John just believes he's right, which he's not always, but if he believes that, it makes for better content. Maybe that's a biased way to look at it, but I don't have an issue with it. Smitty's catch, great. Next week, everybody talking about the Barkley toe tap. Hop was even more spectacular. The Barkley toe tap. Oh, the touchdown. Yeah, that was great. It was great. And you don't see him catch much. I mean, he hasn't been huge in the passing game this year, but he really had a nice catch tonight. I agree with that. Mike McIntyre checks in. I miss Jody. I like the old man dynamic, but dynamic is Zander is no slouch. Kind of miss the old middle show, especially BB. Mike, we're business, man. It's got to work. But I appreciate you checking in, man. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. I'm all good with them. I think I got them all tonight. Oh, God. Big Sills. I'm not reading that out, man. I'm not reading that out. Amber follows up. I can't stand listening to John. Well, you don't got to listen to him, Amber. You know, one thing, maybe this will come off wrong to some people, but I don't care. I think it's so childish and stupid when somebody watches our shows and then they comment in the chat like 5 times, I'm leaving. I'm not watching this show anymore. Like, do you need attention so bad that you have to announce your departure? That means you're not actually just leaving to leave, because it's very simple to just click. You all watch YouTube, click off and click on the next video. But you got to announce it because you're looking for validation. How about fuck off? M. Halpin checks in with it. $2. Thank you, M. Halpin. Appreciate it. Brian says, Zay, you're awesome for doing this until 11. Hey, game day, man. It's great to do it. Almost 4-hour show tonight. Great stuff, man. I got plenty in the tank, Brian. You want to keep going, Brian? Let's go, baby. I got the Jarrell. I got the energy from you tonight, man. Thanks, everybody, man. What a great show this was. What a good win it was for the Eagles outside of Nick Sirianni. Like, that's why I hate this game. Ready? Let's do the exercise one more time. All right, before I get out of here. Now my mouse isn't working. You got to be kidding me. Let's do the exercise one more time. And Big Sills, if you're still in the chat, I want you to listen to this. So we did our whole postgame show. It's pretty negative. I mean, Nick Sirianni made it negative because he made it a game. Shouldn't have been negative, but it was, and I'm not mad about it. Jalen Hurts tonight, 18-24 for 230 and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good performance. Saquon Barkley, 27 carries, 159 yards, 5.9 average with a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. Jalen Hurts, 12 carries, 67 yards, 5.6 average and a touchdown on the ground. Let's look at the defensive stats. Defensively, only gave up 215 yards, only 155 passing yards given up, only 60 rushing yards given up. I mean, if you look at the stats of this game, we played great. We had a great football game today. We had incompetent coaching that made the game close. From a football perspective, I mean, shit, I think this team is better than they've been in a while. I think they're looking really good. But overall, I'm good with where we are. I'm not going to lie to you guys, though. I mean, look at this asshole. Look at this asshole. Is this the real Big Sills account? I can tell because it's the way he types. LOLOL. Types like a girl. Types like my little sister. Sills, you type like my little sister. Hurts killed the 31st worst defense. Congrats, ? LOL. Wait, that's Sills like 4. Sills got off the show, what, like an hour and a half ago? He's 4, 5, 6 beers deep already. 4, 5, or 6 beers deep. Chirping about Jalen Hurts. Rent free. Rent free, Sileo. Rent free. Yep. Appreciate you, Sills. Appreciate everybody watching, man. Still got a good crowd in here, man. That's great stuff, man. JAKIB Nation's been absolutely crushing it recently. And I can't thank you guys enough, man, for what you guys have done in the last couple of weeks. It's been a great journey, and we've been enjoying it. Sills and I have been enjoying it. John's been enjoying it. It looks a lot different than it did a year ago, as somebody pointed out in the chat. But I can't thank you all enough for making it happen. 12 more. I will not leave this show until we get 600 likes. I will not end it. If it takes hours to get 12 likes, I'll be here for hours. Where are we at? Twiz, you got to keep track of me, man. 587, it says. So our 13 away. Can we get 13 likes? Only a 6-pack. Sills is old and lightweight. Look at that. Throwing haymakers at Sills. That's all right. Sills can slow down on the beers. I tell him that all the time. Anton checks in. Zander, if you're reading this, I said 12-5. We're at 6-2 at the midpoint of the season. Yeah, I got to be honest, Anton. 12 looks good, man. I mean, it looks like we're going to get to 12. I'd say we're going to get to 12. I should have stuck with my original win prediction. Sills had me change it, and that's not Sills' fault. I changed it, but I think 12 is definitely realistic. 596. Look at that. We're close, man. I ain't getting out of here until we get to 6. So don't think I'm leaving. What's that meme? Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. That's me right now. Somebody channel my inner Wolf of Wall Street. Ryan with a good take here. I'll bring it up. Ryan is hilarious. You know, I mess with Ryan because Ryan will have like 1, 2 comments in a 4-hour show, maybe 3 comments in a 4-hour show. And then it'll be like, this guest sucks. Sileo sucks. It's like 2 words. And I'm like, Ryan, there's Ryan. It reminds me of the woman, Debbie. If you've been on JAKIB a while, you know Debbie. Anytime baseball comes up, Debbie's like, hate baseball. Like, okay, Debbie, it was 2 minutes, Debbie. But that's what Ryan reminds me of. And he's a funny guy. I appreciate your support, Ryan. Zander, John gets off the record convo, so obviously he's not going to bash him. Plus, John knows things we don't and probably never will. That's accurate. And John gives me a lot of the off-the-record stuff, by the way. Just can't say it on the air. But no, that doesn't mean, yeah. So he's a reporter. You got to be objective. You can't just not criticize someone because they talk to you. But I hear you. Brian, thanks again, man. Thanks again, brother. $5 goes a long way when you guys drop super chats, man. It really does. I know I say that, and I'm not just saying to butter you up, but we're self-funded, man. We're not no venture capitalist, none of that shit in here. I got to pay Sills the big bucks, so I go broke to pay Sills. Brian Pumper says, Zander, what do you think Nick does pregame? I believe he listens to Lose Yourself with a helmet on, staring in the mirror, holding his play sheet. You got to be kidding me, man. You got to be kidding me. Lose yourself in the music the moment you want it. Oh, God. You can tell I ain't no rapper. Good stuff, Brian. Thanks for the support, my man. Clary Voice says, JAKIB Sports. When you want to get down to the Bama scene, let me know. Always welcome to stay. I'm close. Been wanting to go to a game. College football ain't the Philly scene. College football's dope, man. I used to go. I love the Bama tailgates. Clary Voice, I haven't been back since I left. I have not been back. And to be completely transparent with you, I haven't missed it at all. Now, it's not a knock on Bama, but when I left college, I was not one of the people who was like, oh, I miss college and I miss partying and this. I was like, I'm out. Time to build a business. Time to get money. That was my perspective, but I appreciate it, man. Twiz says, Zander needs money to fill a 7 Series. Are you crazy? I ain't no 7 Series driver. Maybe if we blow JAKIB up one day, Twiz. But if I had money like that, I wouldn't buy a 7 Series, Twiz. I got about 60 to 70 to 80 to options I'd buy before a 7 series. I mean, come on. 7 series? Nah, I'm not going that. Jameson, crazy stat. Jalen is 14-1 versus the AFC. Had no idea. Actually, Jameson, I think I'm going to correct you. I think he's 15-1 after today. I thought before the game, John put out a tweet. Let me see if I can find it. Now my mouse isn't working, so I can't. Yes, Abe said GT 500. That's what I'd buy. But I need like a truck too. I maybe buy like a TRX. I have a Ram now. That's what I drive now. I got a pickup truck. Ram 1500. I want 2500, but really I want the TRX. But you get like 8 miles to the gallon on this thing. And contrary to Twiz's belief system, I can't afford 8 miles a gallon and $120 to fill the tank every time. Let me see if I can find this stat though, Jameson. I'll double check it for you, bro. Damn, Johnny Mac got a lot of tweets today. Give me a sec, everybody. Yeah, oh no, you're right. All right, it was 13-1. It was 13-1, so now it's 14-1. Yeah, crazy, man. Jalen dominating them AFC teams. I'll be curious if someone point out the one loss. Are they not talking about the one loss isn't the Super Bowl, is it? Or is that not counted? I don't know. Ooh, I like this question. Great question. What was your goalie pads when I played? I used Bauer, but it seems like it's changed so much. I've gotten so much more into hockey. I still have my pads. I had what was my most recent pair? I think they were. Is it Brian's? Brian's? I forget the name of them. They were Brian's, I think. Yep, Brian's. They were Brian's. That's what I had. That was my last pair before I had Bauer's. Yeah. Appreciate everybody, man. We got a lot of comments here. I'm appreciative of all you guys. Relaxing rain videos. Interesting name there. Zander something argue with Sills. It doesn't matter what they do. Sills is going to find something to say that's negative. He contradicts himself all the time for the sake of his arguments. No, he doesn't. Relaxing. You're not. You're listening to what you want to hear. When Sills is wrong, he says he's wrong. But Sills is not going to give you credit before you deserve credit. And you believe you deserve credit before he believes it. That's where you're different. Sills isn't a hater either. You guys are wrong about that. Sills is for great content, and that's what I'm for as well. Akbar, my main man, says, you're kind of getting on my nerves making this show so good all night. I haven't even checked in on the game. Yo, me and you both, Akbar. I got to get off this. It's 11:10. I got to watch the condensed. I'm going to rewatch the condensed game because I like to do that before I do the morning show. Probably make some notes for the morning show. I got to get the links ready and stuff for the morning and stuff. And I'll probably be up till 1:30-ish. Get the bed up at 6:30, and we back. I mean, come on, man. I'm not digging coal mines. I'm not doing the real work that some of you probably are doing. I'm not Jarrell fighting on the front lines for our freedom. I'm talking about sports, man. I'm not complaining about it. I promise you that. I ain't complaining about it. That's going to do it, though, man. I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate all of you guys for the great show tonight. Just tremendous, man. I absolutely love talking to you guys every single week. I'm appreciative of the people who come on every week. I think I appreciate the people who put some time in too, to kind of come prepared and ready. And a lot of you guys are doing a great job, and I'm appreciative that you joined, but I'm happy for you guys because, I think it's cool that we talk football after the game on a public forum where a lot of people listen. It's dope. I think it's dope. I don't know. I could easily sit up here and just have me, John, Dan, goodbye, but I love talking to you guys. You guys obviously a massive part of this channel, and we wouldn't be the same without it. So thanks, everybody, man. That's going to do it for the show tonight. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Birds 365. We're giving away the jersey. Remember, Tuesday morning, 10 a.m., jersey giveaway. So get your memberships in if you're not a member. A lot of you guys aren't members, and I'm seeing, why aren't you guys members? Now, I'm not going to beg you, but shit, man. it's big support. If you guys are here talking to me late night, you might as well be a member. But I appreciate it, man. That's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody. Catch you next time. Birds, 6-2, baby. Let's go. Let's go, Birds. Catch you next time, everyone.
EAGLES, Eagles.